Take these glasses off here. All right, looks like live is working. Hopefully everybody had a nice day yesterday, is prepared for today. 2 minutes to open. We are looking to open on lows from yesterday. Hopefully this kind of rotates down into that yellow area here. Let's see. Just going to click through here. Somebody's mowing the lawn outside. Give me a minute. Starting our day with our espresso. If you are over on YouTube, don't be afraid to head over to tradecaster.com. Link is in the chat. There we go. We are open, as I mentioned yesterday, right? We had our one trade, two trades. I said when I got off, price is likely to possibly dip below down into 800 and then potentially up into the highs. But realistically, we probably closed somewhere within this range, right? So as you can see, we ended up dipping down here to 800, bouncing right there and closing right at this overnight high level, but within this range here, right? So nothing surprising yesterday. Everything that was going to happen happened. So I'm kind of looking for a very similar price action today. Let's see what happens here now on the open. We're going to watch this opening range. We do have this bit of a trend line here that could crack and push us down into the lows, but that's not what I'm playing. We have confluence down here at the overnight low, which is also the previous day low, right? It came right into the bottom. I kind of just threw them on top of each other, basically the same level. I'm not going to front run that, red line to the yellow line. There's not much space there, right? Holding above this 829 level, 830 level here, which is my key area for a bounce. I think we possibly could rotate up to the highs, but I would like to get a setup first. We are below VWAP here. This could just get going potentially, but I would like to see it down here first before I get a bounce. Clean up some of this, get some of these shorts involved through this trend line crack, get some inventory down here at the lows, and then try to rotate through to the highs. That's my goal for that execution, but I got to be patient, let that set up. I don't think it's going to happen immediately. You could play the opening range break, but you're so close to VWAP that it kind of is right butt up against it. So that's not something I'm looking to trade right now. After yesterday, we had a nice little day. We're not trying to force in anything, trying to duplicate what happened. We're going to try and execute our plan according to the rules of the strategy. Let's see here. Get our delta up. See delta trying to push downside, price trying to push upside. I think we do get at least a little push down. Russell is pushing down, so it's kind of leading us that way. Nvidia is creeping its head up. Microsoft also kind of on lows. We dumped down yesterday, sat on this low here at 400, and that's been the overnight pretty much support for Microsoft. So I'm going to watch this initial flush, see what happens down here at the lows, and see if we can get some sort of divergence or if it's going to be a continuation down to that purple area. Once again, today is Tuesday. We don't have a ton of really great data. And you have all this stuff here. This is other countries. Let me get rid of these. Cool. We had the employment cost benefits kind of all high. We had S&P Schiller home prices up 0.9. Everything's just showing that it's up a little bit. Nothing that's really huge. We do got the Chicago PMI coming out at 845 and the consumer confidence at 9. Those could algo whip around, but realistically, I think they're not going to move the markets out of the range until tomorrow or until afternoon, after post-market today, right? Whatever the earnings is for today, we got AMD, AMZN. So Amazon's dipping off to start the day pre-earnings, right? If we see a bunch of selling throughout the day, AK was mentioning that he thinks that if you get selling through the day, through some support, through some resistance, then you possibly get that selling to continue no matter what the earnings are. AMD kind of just holding its own there. Nvidia popping its head up. SMCI does also report today, is pushing high side a bit. So expect the chips to push up a bit, but Amazon looking to kind of push into that 180 level. Microsoft trying to hold 400. I'm going to watch Microsoft like I did yesterday, kind of helped me out a bit. Friday it hurt me, but today I think that's going to be a good little level. In spite of Delta pushing heavy downside, the price kind of held up pretty good, so there are buyers here to try and buy us up. I mean, we do have this key level here, that 29. It could just hold and rally, which, you know, for me, it just doesn't provide me an opportunity to execute. But that is a good trade there. It's just so close. Like I said, that opening range trade there is so close to VWAP. You're going to run right into this resistance here. Still a chance you chop around this gap. I left the gap up here just because it's still kind of important for trading today. I don't think it's important because of the gap per se, but it is just a level that I'm just interested in. I'm not going to trade it. Just have it out there for visual sake. Excuse me. Yesterday we executed pretty much right away. We saw the divergence coming. We were right at our overnight high, saw the failure breakout, and we rotated the other way. I do think that this chops around a bit today, even more so. I would love to see this trend line break, confirm, try to push down, fail the break of the overnight low, previous day low, give me that same sort of setup to rotate us back to the high side and continue the range bound trading that we've seen over the last day and change. That's the goal for the day here. So we'll see what happens. I think we wait for that 45 number, see what happens, see if that pushes price down with the algos, and then gives us the opportunity to play the rebound. And then 9 o'clock, we have that other number that comes out as well. So 9 o'clock could be another opportunity. I didn't even if we don't execute today, I kind of expected. If you look at my write-up, it is in the alerts, in the alerts in the Tradecaster lobby, and in YouTube, it's in the description. But I just threw it out there in the chat so you could read it. Kind of went over how I expected Monday and Tuesday to be a little bit sideways, a little bit range bound. You could probably execute on a couple of trades here and there, but some of the opportunities are not going to be there. But as the week progresses, you're going to get tons of opportunities. So there's no reason to force something in today or yesterday or even in tomorrow pre-Fed meeting, because there's opportunities to make money later on in the week. If you're an earnings play type person, then maybe post-market today, you do have those few releases. AMD, AMZN, and SMCI are the names that are kind of important. SMCI, because of it'll drive that chip market, right? So if AMD reports well and SMCI reports well and they both kind of pump, then NVIDIA likely will pump as well, and they're rallying the whole market to the high side, right? Microsoft is bouncing off of 400. Let's see what NVIDIA is doing. NVIDIA is failing that 877 level, trying to rotate back to the low of the pre-market session, which is 867.50, so about $10. There's a lot of opportunity within NVIDIA on a day-to-day basis, you know, with these swings that it takes, you know, $10, $20 swings plus. I think we do crack this trend line. I think we go down to that overnight low. I think that plays into my strategy. I think that gives me the good, you know, anticipation that it flushes. I don't know if we get all the way to the lows, just based on that 30-minute wick. This big push down and this rally back up into 8 o'clock gives you a long wicking tail on that 30-minute, and it closes right at my 829 quarter level. So maybe you get a flush here that doesn't quite make it to the lows. We'll if it gets close to, say, like the 800 level, we'll watch for that divergence strategy to come into play, and then we'll try to rotate it back. If it does flush that low, We have support down here into 82. So kind of into that area there. Yeah, I'd call it even 75 down into 70. So if price could get into this 70, 80 area as it dips, and then look to see if it'll pop its head above here and rotate its way back into the levels overhead. You know, that push down will also separate us from VWAP, give us a nice little first target to rotate back to. So there's the push. If you break through this 24 down to 20, you probably get a nice little pop to the downside. And I don't know how much follow through you get. So we're going to watch it. It is supporting that 29 level, is acting as support here. You can see that pretty much the turning point. You wick below it, wick below it, wick below it, turning through it. 29 is still going to be very important. It is that long-term key level. So you might get a chop around it first. We're giving ourselves the ability to be a little patient today. Be patient. Let things kind of come to us. They have to come into our levels. If they don't come into our levels, then we don't have a trade, right? Having this confluence of the previous day low and the overnight low, right? Here's that previous day low. Right down here. Everything kind of acted around that 800 number. Then, obviously, pretty much right pre-market here. That was 730. You got the bounce right off that same exact level. So key level 800, watching that area. If we don't come back down into that, if we rotate up, overnight highs right there could get cleared, obviously, into that previous day high. 18,000 still could be a magnet. I don't know about today though, right? I think that this range kind of continues on until, after market today. So if we get up into the overnight high, previous day high area, I will look to take the same trade I took yesterday and fade it right back down to the VWAP and down to the lows. Hopefully get that little move there. It's trying to be strong here, right? Getting above VWAP, pushing up, broke through that opening range. Right there, opening range high is right there. We've pushed through it. Now we're holding above VWAP. Nice little pop. NVIDIA pushing upside, broke through 877. Pre-market high is now broken, so could run into some overhead here, but also could run right up to 892 for NVIDIA. NVIDIA and Microsoft probably bouncing from 4. Nope, Microsoft still just holding right around that 400 level, 456 cents, $400.58, kind of just right there, looking for a bounce off of that $400.07 level. So we are catching a bid here, looking to see if that's going to get strong. Delta acting in confluence, so pretty much looking like it's going to be a buy for a bit. But let's see what happens at this level. S&P's also back above VWAP. As I mentioned yesterday and in previous streams, we do have the S&Ps that respect their levels a bit more precisely, right? The levels will turn on a dime at, let's say at 5147 level. Once that happens, if it returns off of that level, you might see the rejection of the NQ happen right at the same time. So if you're looking for follow through, just be careful if the S&Ps are right up on their overnight levels. I don't throw as many levels out for the S&Ps as I do the NQ because I don't really trade the S&Ps. But if you were looking at the low is a little bit lower. The high is just a touch bit higher for that range there, right? You could throw it out there if you want. That's the high. Good morning, Scrooge. How are we doing today? It's good to hear. We are kind of just being patient here today with it. I did expect a bounce from this 29 level, but since we're not down into my lows, I did not want to take that trade yet. I wasn't, that's not an A+ setup for me. I do have that longer term 829, 830 level right there that once again acted as support, didn't break, trying to rally, rotate. It kind of plays into the idea of what we were looking at yesterday, saying that everything's probably going to stay within this, upper range here, just above the 829 level until we get some of these data releases, probably tomorrow. Today, post market, after market hours, you have those earnings: AMD, Amazon, Nvidia. Not Nvidia. Don't listen to me. AMD, Amazon, and SMCI, which could drive Nvidia to do some stuff. Then tomorrow, obviously, we have the Fed rate decision. We have some of the other data releases in the morning. A lot of algorithmic popping and pumping could happen right here, right now, with this data release. The Chicago PMI. So if that comes out hot, potentially look for this to give up a bit, and it's kind of pumping up right here into that sort of resistance from the overnight session here. I would anticipate some dancing around here in about 30 seconds or however long it's going to be, 20 seconds or so. We are technically right now at the value area high. Really cleared out this entire sell side move that happened at 7:30. So you've recovered that 7:30 number release, which was all this employment wages, which came in hot. If this comes in hot again, expect it to fall off. Didn't get any news on it. Chicago PMI, waiting. I was looking to push it down probably. We're not at any level that I'm interested in, so I'm not really too concerned about watching the chart dance around at my levels. They're not there yet, so I'm okay with just watching, waiting, seeing what this number comes out to be, which it probably already released, and come on. Trading economics is funny sometimes. It'll alert me when it pops off. But you'll see this thing try to sell off. I want to see this trend line crack. I want to see maybe a double bottom here. I want to get that delta divergence. The PMI came in at 37.9. Consensus was 45. Previous was 41.4. That's interesting. That might pop us to the high side, but really not. It's not a huge number. Like I said, it's just kind of a preliminary producers index. Microsoft's selling off pretty hard through 400. Watching out for that 398 for a support level. If 398 cracks, then Microsoft has down into 396 and even into 395.50. Watch Microsoft down to the lows. That number possibly helps us get this crack, get us down into the lows. I don't think it's a big enough number to clear us and have us rotate down to lows. But like I said, if it does, we do have down into the 70s as like a false break right into support. So I want to see that. That's really what I want to see. All right. I know it's quiet. Just kind of being patient here with this. I still feel like there's not a ton of execution to happen around VWAP for me. I use it as a target. I use it as a reversion tool. I like to use my levels, and then that's pretty much it. And then I look for divergences around my levels, right? If I could get this to reaccept back down flush this opening range low, get down into here, get down close to 800. Even if I don't flush these lows, I would like to see 800 give us some sort of hold, because I think we're slightly strong, right? Even with Microsoft coming in hot to the downside. Let's see what NVIDIA is doing. Let's see. NVIDIA rejecting that high. So that's another confluence that you have. NVIDIA, Microsoft selling. Apple has earnings on Thursday. It holds that 173 level and it's popped up to 174. Pre-market highs in Apple are 174.50. And then yesterday's high at 175.85. I mean, I think it stays kind of in that area for the most part. Watch Microsoft. Watch Microsoft. The heaviness there, kind of just keeping this pinned down here. Apple did catch a little bit of a bid, not too crazy. Bounced right off that trend line. You can see this. So this is acting pretty strong here. I think if it cracks 29, overnight lows do get tagged. I think a flush of the overnight lows would be beautiful for my setup. If it continues on and just keeps melting off, then I'll have to just wait to see if it will rotate back up. But I think a push down into like, the high 70s, even into 70, and then right back up in through that level of 93 could give me that good opportunity to get long. But right now, I'm just looking to see if this will get short, get through here. If that's something that you're looking to play, if you're looking for this kind of trend line crack break, I think you could get it. I think it'll come with a little bit of force. I believe that it'll come right down into this 29, 30 level, and then it may run into slight resistance there at 30. Be careful around there. Maybe don't be too tight with your stop until you get down through that 29 level. If you're looking to short this down into that low, not something I'm looking to take because it's not my A+ type setup, but it is something that has been kind of consistently working over and over and over again, right? You just wicked off VWAP. You're holding it. You're below the level. You're tight to VWAP. You can limit your risk right to here. You crack this trend line. If it holds, you do have room. Your first 47 to 27. Your first 20 points there it's like free money. But then after that, that's where you're going to wait and see if it's going to kind of continue down through 29 or if it's going to hold it once again. So that's just my thought. If you are looking to short through this trend line, these two were too early. This third time, it could be the charm for you. I'm not taking it because it's just not part of the strategy that I'm looking to play today. And the only other thing that you got to be cautious of is that S&P VWAP. Here's the break. If it holds, then you could get your opportunity to hold it short. I don't know if it'll hold or not. Like I said, it's not an A+ setup for me, so I find it more likely that it could fail, but it has been playing out pretty nicely, these breakdowns of these trend lines, but you just got to time them correctly. Right here you see Delta just trying to push down, but we're rejecting that that opening range high, which is 50 basically. So a crack of that level should bring in that selling, but it's got to be tight because any sort of bounce from here could rotate us even higher. If S&P gives up the VWAP here, then the NQ definitely goes. Microsoft still does have room to downside. Has a little bit of resistance here, but down to 398.03. So you have like 70 pennies worth of room there. You need S&Ps to get below this level here. Little pop up because you get a delta divergence, right? You can see price trying to push up, delta not trying to push up. There is heaviness here. It's just a matter of is it going to go or not. It doesn't want to hold this VWAP. Is this a wick of the VWAP the other way? But this trend line is holding pretty tight. When it does end up giving up, it'll give up pretty nicely, I think. But as I mentioned, I think you should just, if this does go, if that's your trade, I think you got to be cautious of this right here. This could be your bounce spot there, right there. That's where you're going to run into some resistance. If it flushes this nice, then you do have down to the overnight lows without probably much. We'll call it 800. We'll call it, if you break this, you run right to 800. This is the S&P's chance right here to break the VWAP. If S&P gives this up, then this trend line goes. But Microsoft is trying to bounce a bit from 398.50. Watch for the crack. If you get a hold, it should go. I'm not taking it. As I mentioned, you just see S&P's just cracked the low of the VWAP there. So then watch this trend line crack this time. Help yourself time it based on the S&Ps, right? If S&Ps cracks and holds, then you may get continuation. If the NQ follows the S&P today, then if that crack and hold stays, then this crack should come in after that. But if the S&Ps does not hold, if it breaks and then pops back up and holds above the VWAP, then you may continue to rotate up back to the high side. I don't know how far up, you could still be going, but you can see it wicked it and it didn't hold. Still waiting to see if it'll hold it. Give me 1 second. Yes, sir. I am. I'm on. You're good. All right, sounds good. Hey, you got it later. Wow, my back hurts. I didn't realize it until I got up. Good thing I'm off today. I can relax with some. Could this be the time it goes? We want to see this heaviness come in. For my setup to come in, it's either got to go either way. We're dead center right between my two levels, right? Overnight high, overnight low, previous day high and low. They're all right in this area. I don't care which way it goes, to be honest with you, because whenever it gets to those levels, I'm going to look to fade those levels. I'm not looking to play breakouts. I want to see a failed breakout. If I can get that I will enter. If you are a trendline break type person, you just got another attempt to make a new high, could not do it, trying to get through this VWAP and this opening range low. You're seeing the delta acting pretty heavy. I see nothing that's telling me that this wants to go long very aggressively. This attempt here was feeble attempt at a breakout right into 80. You may get up back into 80 again before you fail, but I don't know. We'll see. With S&P just knocking on the door here, to try and crack this low. If it does, let's see where it ends up. S&Ps could rotate down to the lows, but also we are closer to that overnight high. So, if it continues to hold here, get some orders involved to rotate us up, could be that way as well. So this is why I don't trade this kind of setup here. I do like it. I think there's a chance that it goes from here straight down to 29, and then you have to see if it'll either like base out or give you just a straight flush through it. If it could straight flush through to 29, I think the overnight low tag, really that 800 level should be your target. I don't know how much more follow through you're going to get through the lows, because I'm going to look to fade that area. Microsoft is bouncing, kind of helping this market out a bit. Nvidia did break to the high side as well, running into yesterday's aftermarket hours and now breaking through aftermarket hours, post-market high there. So Nvidia now off to the races to the high side, looking to break yesterday's pre-market high of 885.95. So basically 888. If Nvidia gets over 888, 892 is the next target above, then that could fade us. So with these names here catching a bid, with Nvidia starting to grab a lot of strength, I think we may get up through here, but just be cautious on it. So it's not a ton of tradable action. You can see it's very choppy. Not a lot of real great opportunities. You're hanging around the VWAP. You're 73% long on the tilt. Your delta is flat while price is trying to push up. Delta's flat, but on the low end, right? So you are getting divergence. It's just, we're not in a great area for me personally for a trade idea, right? I wouldn't hate taking this short higher up, but I really want it up here if I'm going to fade it. I'm just going to be patient. I'm going to let it happen. We made a really nice trade yesterday right off the jump. Today we're looking to do the same, but we are kind of just holding off. We don't want to diddle in the middle. Anything that I take where I'm executing too much, middle of the range, right? Middle of the overnight high, overnight low, right? Dead center on VWAP. That's where I get myself into trouble in the past. So I've avoided that by just setting the rules of being closer to these levels before I decide to make an execution. I look for my setup. I prefer, how it happened yesterday where it broke through the high, gave us a false breakout, right? This is the trade from yesterday. The overnight high was just a bit higher. It was up in this range. So let's see. It was actually right here, this dotted line. So I waited for that to come back, break through that overnight high, and then you can see we rotated it back down through. That's the kind of execution I want to see. Sometimes it happens just before that level, and you don't really get the top of the line entry, but could still happen. I'm going to leave this like that. And we're just going to let it ride. Microsoft rotating down again. We're running into an overhead resistance trend line as well. I think 9 o'clock here, we got another number. Waiting for consumer confidence. Anticipated is 104 for the consumer confidence number. We'll see if it melts off from here now with a release of a data number. I think we're waiting for that 9 o'clock number to come out. Still hasn't come. Still hasn't hit for me. It's been delayed. Both numbers have been delayed. I don't know if that says something about... I don't know if that says something about the data, if they're trying to be sneaky with it or something where there's days that both numbers come out later than anticipated. Maybe they're just tired. Still waiting for that number. $104. It came in at 97 as opposed to 94. Consumer confidence is starting to wane, and by a lot. So maybe they thought that this number was going to be a bit better than that, but I would not say that consumer confidence dipping down in a high inflationary environment is a good thing. I think that leads you to believe that potentially that consumers are not ready to start spending their money. I mean, obviously that's the high interest rate cause and effect, right? But at the same time, it's also a lot of other factors that we all realize in our day-to-day lives of things just costing more, and faith in the government and all that stuff just kind of, that's what drives the economic markets, right? So this number might make you go up, but consumer confidence being down should kind of concern you a bit, because it means people are less likely to spend their money, which means these companies will lose money. And that's how that goes. You just broke that high there. Let's see if that's going to be a wick off high, or if it's going to be something that is going to continue on. We have the value area high at 882, which we're trying to hold below. You did wick off the high on Delta and do kind of the same type of price action there. Oh, I X'd out of it. I hate when I do that. All right. Reopen it. I know it might be a bit boring not executing, not seeing a bunch of executions. I don't think that that's, a good teacher of how you should be trading, right? I don't want to be out here hammering buttons just to hammer buttons, just to make you, entertainment purposes wise. We did run into this overhead resistance here. I'm going to show you on my 30-minute trading view chart, right? You can see it right there. Ran into that resistance a bunch, came into here, wicked it. Now we're rotating back down. Could be a good reason for this trend line now to break on the bottom end here, right? You can see if this will break. Let's see if that cracks this time. S&P's has to get through its VWAP as well for that to make some sense. I think the crack has to hold, and then you could rotate down into this first resistance level is this blue line. Then the next level down below that is the overnight lows. So watch it, be cautious on it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the encouragement. I know some people come into streams and they just want to see people hammering buttons. They want people to lose, and they want to watch people lose. I think that's really the thing. I think people want to watch people lose, or just make stupid, gambling mistakes or big bucks. I appreciate the feedback, Scrooge. McBucks. I think this is just going to continue. Yeah, absolutely. We're at, like I said, we're at that key level. We're at the top end of that gap from Sunday. I am not interested really in the gap too much. I just have it here still because it's relatively new. I used this level yesterday as a target, this downside bottom end here as a target. I just have it here more so as a visual for myself. It's not necessarily a level that you should be really concerned with. I also might be just a little bit lazy to take it off. I just kind of like the visual of it potentially holding that. Especially when I do get the price down here at these lows and I get my divergence, I'm trying to target back into VWAP or whatever I'm trying to do. I want to see this purple zone. I want to have it there because I kind of use it as an area to start trailing my stop around. So that would be the reason to have this kind of just lingering around in the future. Still trying to hold this VWAP, hold that level there. I think S&P is really working that VWAP as well here at 51.34, 52, 50. I don't think there's a 52. Just holding VWAP, rotating up. I mean, the top time to trade is pretty much on the open and the close for the most part. You'll get the most volatility, the most volume come in. You could see right here. We'll look at yesterday just so you could have a better visual on like the entire day, right? You can see early in the morning from 8:30 all the way till just about 9. I'll give it till 9:30, 10 o'clock. Normally, yesterday was a lower volume type day. Normally, this is more volume through 10:30. I'll find good moves happen between 10 and 11 because that volume does tick down, the volatility does tick down, and if it gets to my level at those times, you do see some. You can see this one right here. It got into a key zone right around 10:30, and then it rotated out and back up, right? That was another opportunity at a time where price slows down a bit. That gives you a little bit of an ability to avoid getting wicked in and wicked out. You're going to get more whippy action, but a lot of more opportunity, right, from the open till about, I'll call it 10. From 8:30 to 10, you're going to get some better opportunities. And then as the day progresses, you're going to get more volume start to creep in after people come back from lunch. Here on the in Central Time, you're going to see that happen around 1 o'clock into 1500, 3 o'clock, right, into the close. So the higher volume, higher probability of bigger moves is going to happen within that first hour and a half. And then obviously right into the close, you're going to start to see some more movement. A lot of times the futures find a way to, if they're range bound, they find a way to rip your face off at the end of the day or dump. If they're trending, they just continue to go and go and go and go all the way to the rest of the day. But they'll slow down a bit in the middle of the day. They'll chop around some, and then the rest of the, that power hour, they'll call it, is when that opportunity comes for that afternoon. So for me, that's another reason I trade pretty much only from open till 11, 8:30 Central to 11 Central. Add an hour for Eastern time, right? Or whichever way you go. For me, none of this is tradable. I don't see any opportunity here. Maybe if this wick off here becomes relevant, the crack of the trend line, when that actually does happen, it gives you a nice little flush. But overall, right now, I don't have very much of a trade set up here. But yes, that's a good question with the volume and the trading times a day and everything. It all also depends upon your schedule and your ability to trade, right? If you're just going to be an equities person, you have to trade market hours because that's the only time you can trade pre and post, before and after, right? There's pre-market hours, post-market, after market hours. Those things happen there's different rules though, right? You're not going to be able to trade options pre and post-market. You can, but you can't get out, right? It's impossible. You have to wait till market hours are open from 8:30 to 3 o'clock. So, it depends on what instrument you're trading. Futures are open 23 hours a day. So you could trade all the way up till 4 o'clock Central Time, 5 o'clock Eastern, and then the market closes, and then it reopens at the next hour. So it's just closed for 1 hour a day, and then you could trade all overnight. There's lower volume on the overnight session, but there are times of the night when you can actually execute where there's going to be higher volume ticks, like when the Asian markets open and when the London and European markets open. Those times will give you a little bit more movement if you're, depending on your time zone, right? So if you prefer to trade when you're awake and, if you're in the United States and your market hours line up with the open of the U.S. market, that's obviously going to be the most volatility, the most volume. But there are times of the night, I think, that work to your advantage if you're going to trade those overnight sessions. I know, Scrooge, you were talking about that you were not into futures. What are you trading right now? You're just trading equities? Are you trading options? What are you doing? Microsoft still trying to push downside, still holding below 400. We're right at 399. It's doing a little dance here with 399, which is holding below yesterday's lows, right? I think if we can continue to hold yesterday's lows for Microsoft, then it continue to kind of drift to the downside. I want to see what NVIDIA is doing because NVIDIA is kind of directing a lot of this as well. NVIDIA is still trying to hold the highs, so it's diverged a bit from Microsoft. If that's the case, then Apple might have been selling off. Apple's still pushing up into that 175 level, but I don't know if it has enough oomph to get up over that. If it continues to push up, Apple could go into Thursday either in a position to just continue to sell off. There's that higher I got some bigger size that got filled there on that break of the trend line this time, so it could be either stops getting run or it's a good opportunity for the short to start to pop in. So just watch it now. This is a good time for it. That's a nice little break. VWAP broke. S&Ps is still holding above VWAP. If S&Ps gets through this VWAP here, then you could expect some flushing here. I got you. So mainly option stuff. A lot of option stuff you got to do during market hours, right? So you have to trade during those times. I have had some success with options, but then I've just, I've had moves where I was like, man, this is great. Everything worked in my favor, and I still just didn't make the same kind of money I thought I was going to make. I never really got into the exact strategy that worked for me with options, and it was just a bit, not that it was too much. I think it's definitely learnable, and I could do it, but I found such ease of access and everything with the futures market that I like it as my trading vehicle right now. If things change, it's change. So here we go. S&P's looking to get through here. Should get us down into this 29. If this S&P's could hold and go, then you rotate. If you are looking to short a crack of a trend line, this is a good time for it. Obviously, it looks like it's going to rotate right to our first level here. I did mention this is probably a good idea if it does crack and hold. You got the liquidity grab at the top there. Finally able to grab through this trend line and actually give you some push. I think your first real area of concern is the 29 level. 29 to 30, this blue line. If this blue line goes, you do probably get down into that 800 level. This wick area now is acting as resistance as well. But that was yesterday's overnight low, I believe. That's the middle of the gap. Yeah, so the overnight low is right here, right where we're at right now. So 55. That was the top end of the gap, kind of technically. Yeah, I have a hard time with the options, right? Like you said, that trying to be better than the 50-50. 50-50 is fine, but you have to crush your wins. You know, you have to make sure your wins are pretty decent. I find that it's just, you know, equities to me, I just always have to find what's in play. I got to find what's going on. That's why I kind of don't really use it as much as I, you know, would like to do. I would love to have a little bit of a more diversified, you know, book. And eventually that's what I think I'm going to do. I'm just going to create my own either, you know, bigger portfolio, set everything up. But that's a little bit down the line. Like right now, I'm not going to live stream, you know, a portfolio management type thing, but an actively traded instrument like futures, that's where we're at right now. So let's see if this is just going to be a stop run. Need to get through 52. So that low there, that's one of the reasons I trail kind of quick with bigger moves. I usually would get in and probably stopped on that at break even. That would, if I was to be trading this kind of setup. That's not my setup. You can see why. It just doesn't play along nicely sometimes. There's still a chance that this still works, but that also could still be the liquidity grab to rotate to the highs. But I still feel like everything's kind of heavy. Microsoft is bouncing some, but it's still holding below, right at those lows from from yesterday. Words just pop out of my mouth sometimes. It's very interesting. Right. That's good. I mean, I like that. That's really nice. I just don't. Options are just not for me right now. Maybe someday I'll get back into them. If you find something that works for you, and that's kind of like, obviously you got to start with a small account. If you eventually could, like I said yesterday, could throw extra cash from your job or whatever you do, just the little pieces here and there to just grow that account. Trade it if you can trade it. Just grow the account small, slow. Trade small. Get into the habit of making good executions. Get into the habit of not executing that's on something that's not part of your plan, right? Like, I'm not executing here. Just like you mentioned, the casinos are fun. But this is not what I'm here for. I'm here to execute on good executions. Get yourself into the good habit of making those good executions, understand what you're doing, and then as you start loading money into there, it'll grow. Work an odd job here and there, throw some cash into the account. A couple $100 here and there definitely helps grow that to get you over that $2,000 mark. Run the spreads, then you can start to grow it exponentially bigger, as your account just grows. And it has nothing to do with execution. Execution is always going to be the same. It's just going to size different. So just scaling your account, it really has to do with discipline and not over leveraging what you have. If I were to have done what I'm supposed to have done, right? Like the advice I'm giving you now, then I would be worth a lot more now than I am, right? So, but it takes such a long time and a lot of beatdowns from the market for you to learn it personally. I feel like everybody kind of has to go through that learning curve. Yes, there's a few people that don't, and those people are unicorns, I feel, because most people are going to run into the market needs to teach you a lesson kind of lessons, right? It's just so hard to do it because you think that you could do it. You feel smart. You're like, I'm competent. I could do this. But then the market teaches you that it's daddy and that you need to respect it. So just, that's what you got to be watching for. I'm literally just nothing happening here. Yeah, daddy market just knows what it's doing, man. It really does. It'll put you in its place. I mean, even if you mentioned, I don't know if it was you or somebody else talking about trades by Matt yesterday. If you see some of these Instagram guys like Umar Ashraf, or he created TradeZella, he said, "Oh, I made $400,000 this month, but I did stupid mistakes, and he lost 100 grand yesterday or 2 days ago." It's just relative to scale. It seems like a lot to us, but for him, that's like him trading at his scale and making dumb mistakes. And it's still, the market still humbles everybody if you could just have to kind of remain that disciplined self. Even guys trading that huge money are going to still run into the same issues. So, I appreciate that he is honest about it, because I know everybody runs into it, but there's a lot of, influencer type people out there in this trading world that are not going to be honest with you, and they're not going to tell you, oh, I lost this much today, or I burnt this account or that or whatever, because they just don't, they want to sell you on the dream and make some money off of that also. Do I think a lot of them trade? Yeah, of course they do, but it's really nice to see some of these big size traders showing you that they actually do take some losses of pretty significant size, and that it does happen to, because of stupid mistakes. Because daddy market will humble you if you're not on your game. Oh man, this is why I don't execute around the VWAP. You could see what's going on. This is the only opportunity that I saw that if you were to have wanted to take a execution, this area right here. But I'm so quick with my trail, especially on a break of a key level, that I would have probably been at break even and probably stopped on that. So realistically, there hasn't been much follow through to much of these moves quite yet. I mean, I'm still hoping that we could get some sort of flush down through into this 29 level and then into the overnight lows, so then I could actually find something to set up. But as I mentioned, I don't really care which way it goes. I just would need it to get to my level, so it could go up or down. I would play the same deal up here at the overnight high. But it's getting to a point where the volume is going to be completely diminished, right? And we haven't really got, aside from that first minute, the volume has just been dumped down. I think there's a lot of waiting for tomorrow. I did say yesterday that today was probably going to be more of the same, but maybe even lower volume, less move, right? This is the only moves we got today. This is it right here. We're stuck between 80 and 29, 30. So that is a super tight spread for the NASDAQ. NASDAQ doesn't usually stay that tight. So if it does break in a direction, let's be careful. But, that's a super tight range for the NASDAQ. Not a ton of opportunities here. Microsoft looking to flat bottom break. If it could get through the lows, then maybe this does rotate some. But Microsoft really getting right here on that bottom. It needs to flush that to get down to 398. A boring day in the markets. Cash is a position, so don't be afraid to not execute. You don't have to execute. It doesn't have to happen. Yesterday, we all did pretty well yesterday. I made that one trade, did pretty good. I know Ray made a nice trade. He did pretty well. Spy Probe, he did good. Astra, I think, said she'd made some money. Like, there's a lot of people out here that had a good green day yesterday. Just because you did good yesterday doesn't mean you should hammer into something today just to hammer in, just to get involved, right? Keep that money you made yesterday. Look for that next A+ opportunity and come into this market with letting it tell you what it wants to do. Right now, it's telling you don't trade. I mean, if you're going to just sit here on the VWAP all day, there's no opportunity, right? That doesn't give you anything. It just sits there. It's just going to go up and down, up and down. You're going to think, oh, it's going to break out now. You're going to play the breakout. It's going to rotate back down, stop you out. Oh, it's going to fall out. And you play that game of, I'm going to be right now. I'm going to be right now. I'm going to be right now. And then you switch to, oh, I'm going to short the high. And then it breaks the high. I guarantee I'm not the only one that's done that before. So hopefully you could avoid doing that today because I brought it up. I don't want you to do the diddle in the middle game. Avoid this. Avoid this VWAP chop. If you're in this room and you've watched me at all, or, this is your first time here, I only trade these levels. This green line, the blue line, the yellow line, the red line. I do have other key levels that I do pay attention to, like these levels here. Obviously, this blue line right here is this yellow line, this dotted line there. I just drew it in as caution for everybody. I do see this kind of just staying in this area until post-market today because we do have the earnings that could move the market. AMD, AMZN, and SMCI. Those are the names that are reporting earnings today that I would be paying attention to after market. Can't trade that because I have to be flat by market close pretty much. Well, I mean, I could be really 310. I have to be flat. But I'm not going to just sit there and try and get into something and then get stuck in the position and then burn my account just because I want to play an earnings play. I'm not going to do that. So I'll be flat for those, but I'll use that opportunity for tomorrow. And then tomorrow, obviously, we do have the rate decision. We have some other economic data coming out. You have ISM, manufacturing PMI, JOLTS at 9. And then, obviously, you got that 1 o'clock Fed interest rate decision and the press conference at 1:30. I think this is a non-mover. I think this just stays there at 5.5%. So that's going to be a non-event. What's going to be the event is this 1:30 number, 1:30 press conference, right? You're going to get Jay Powell come out on the mic and say, we don't want to do things too fast. We don't want to do things too slow. Yada, 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 yada. He's going to ramble on, talk a bunch of shit. The market's going to algorithmically whip around a bit. And then when he's done talking, there's going to be the press conference. He may slip up and say something that markets don't like or say something that markets do like. And that's when you're going to get the final breakout of what's going on from Monday and Tuesday this week, right? If you can stay out of the middle, avoid choppiness, avoid playing with this VWAP, then you'll be just fine because you'll get the opportunities later on in the week, understand what you got to be able to do here to make money and to secure your risk, right? You're not able to limit your risk here. I mean, if you really wanted to do something where you're risking to the high of the day or this wick or whatever, you could, but I don't recommend it because I don't believe that much of this is telling us anything other than people are just here. There is executions going on, but look at this really diminished volume. You have one bar where there was a decent amount of volume and then everything else has just been flat. And you can see even yesterday was a sort of like a non-event day as well, but you can see there was much more heavy volume the whole hour, right? You know, we were on Monday, we were executing a lot of Sunday overnight inventory. We did need to close this gap. There's a reason why there was able to be some volume. There was no gap today. There was no real reason. There's no new information. We did get these two numbers to come out. They were very light, which is very interesting to me, showing that the economy is sort of slowing. Confidence in the economic status right now is waning. So that could be a tell for tomorrow. Could be something that we pay attention to, that consumer confidence stuff, that we could kind of act off of and just kind of anticipate what they're going to say at the meeting. These two numbers will give us a tell. It will be just more algos pushing this thing around, so that could just drop us in and out, but probably get us right back to where we started before that meeting happens, right? So the only thing that will happen after market today, I think, will be AMD and SMCI and Amazon, because Amazon is a Mag 7 name, so it will drive this NASDAQ around a bit. You'll probably get that pop off of whatever those numbers are in either direction, but if they contradict each other, expect the NASDAQ to kind of stay where it's at, because if AMD and SMCI, let's go with if they beat and they, it acts normal and it rallies, then NVIDIA probably follows, which drives the NASDAQ up. If Amazon misses or something happens where it dumps off, those two kind of cancel each other out, and the NASDAQ will kind of flutter around and get back to where it is. These are just things that you have to pay attention to, see what happens with them. I think just avoid trading it and then see what happens after the fact where you can make some decisions around your levels. So here's the final flush. We finally are breaking through. Is volume going to tick up some? You got a little bit of volume there. I mean, it's still low. Nothing to be writing home about. You have a 70% short tilt, which means people are trying to get short, but they're not getting any follow through out of it. Delta is trying to break the low, which it did. Price broke the low, so it's acting together. We'll see if it can accept within this opening range and rotate down, or if it's going to pop its head right back up over the opening range and then continue this chop. Volume is ticking up here a little. Nothing crazy. With the S&Ps being below the VWAP, S&Ps does respect its levels better. So like I said, if it holds this, then the NQ should go down a bit. Mindful of this blue line here because I think that could be an area of interest for a bounce or a flush point, right? And then hopefully we can get down into these lows where I could get a rejection. Hey, little dude. Nice hat. You want to come say hi? Well, yeah. You dressed yourself? You look good, dude. Come on in. Come say hi. Oh, no. Say hi, everybody. Say hi.
Hi.
Are you going to go do something now or are you going to stay home? What are you going to do?
I'm gonna go home.
You going to stay home?
Stay home.
All right, cool.
And you play something.
You're going to go play something? Okay, say goodbye to everybody and go play.
Bye.
Bye.
The traders, everyone. Bye, traders.
Bye, Max. Max always likes to pop in and say what's up to everybody on the screen, so he has a good time with it. That's another part of my stream is I do it at home and I have a family and I got a job and I got a business and I got a lot of things that go on and I want to show you that you could do it too if that's the realities of your life. You know, I think most people that come into a stream or whatever, they're either younger kids or they're family people that want to give better lives to their family. So that's what I'm trying to provide here to you guys today. And every day is just the realities of it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The guy's going to pop in and out of my stream. That's cool with me. Here's that blue line target. Probably will get tagged. And then we'll see what happens from here. Let's see if we can get a good flush. See if we can get this overnight low to come into play so I could actually get involved in something. There you go. Nice little flush right to that target. I said if we do break through at any point, there is a nice little pop up through it. See if it'll hold it or if it's going to reject it. That's an important level to me. I want to see this thing flush to here. What's up, Proby? Jofi, what's going on? How we doing? A whole lot of nothing. I hope you guys are avoiding taking any sort of losses by this low volume choppy day. I did say that if we did break this trend line here, we're going to come right into this 29 level, and this is where you got to be cautious for that rejection. I want price to get down to these yellow and red lines so I could take my strategy to the high side and play the range bound type day, but we're going to see what happens if price can even get there or not. They are shitty, but there are some opportunities. You executed, huh? Zuka-san coming in here hot too as well. Jofi, if you're no trades for me either. Zuka-san, no trades for me here. I'm waiting to see if I can get this overnight low, previous day low, 800 level to get me involved. That's where I would like to get involved. I prefer Top Step for a few different reasons. They don't do a intraday, intra-position trailing drawdown. So, I mean, my strategy does work okay for like Apex and stuff, but it's just I've always had good rapport with the Apex, with the Top Step people. They were the first as far as the futures platforms are concerned. They were the ones that I was involved with way back when I first tried this funding stuff before I took it really seriously. I've bounced around. I've been with Apex. I've been with Take Profit. I haven't quite been able to maintain those accounts because of their intraday trailing drawdown. So let's call it, I'm up yesterday. I'm up on that position. It's up $1,700, but I have my stop at 900. Even though I secured $1,000 on the trade, I gave back $700 of my drawdown. So I don't work well in that environment for some reason. That just my psychology just burns that, and it doesn't work out for me. So Top Step does an end of day drawdown. I could be in positions. I could be up 10 G's today and give it all back, and it has nothing to do with my max drawdown. So until I start to go negative, then that's, if I hit off on that negative $1,000, then that's when I get locked out. But it's end of day drawdown, so it's nice. It's not intra position. So if you're up, 10 and you give back 2, you didn't lose your account because you were up 10 and you gave back 2, right? There's just kind of like little nuances. Everybody has their own preference. I know Jofi in here does use Apex. I know Caesar has Apex accounts. He has Take Profit Trader accounts. There are benefits and downfalls to every single one of the companies. I'm not gonna say Top Step's perfect, but I do just even on here on this stream, I requested a payout live for you guys on Friday. It was a couple Fridays ago. They made the payout. So Friday I requested it. I got the payout on Tuesday. So they pay quick. I never have any issues. If they have a great support staff, really just like if I have any issues, normally I just hit their contact information and they either respond right away or within a day. They usually do the right thing by their traders too. So if they have any sort of back end issues where it causes problems on accounts, they'll give you your account back. They'll make sure if it's their fault, they take full accountability. And I'm all about accountability, right? So that's really my relationship as far as why I choose Top Step over some of the other ones. And there's just a diverse platforms that you could use as well. I've kind of started to really like their Top Step X platform. I really like it for the streaming purposes as well. I think it just kind of flows well for the stream. But for, I also like to use Quant Tower for my actual platform for my brokerage. Quant Tower is a fantastic program as well for futures trading. So, that's, what it is. But I do like this for the stream purposes, especially because it gives you the full transparency right here on the top of the screen. It shows you what I'm trading. This is my funded account. It's gold. If it's not gold, it's not funded. It's not live. You're not going to be, that's if somebody's showing you and it says like something else besides Express, it's not a funded account. So just don't let them lie to you. You can see my balance. This is what we're up for the month of April. This is my max drawdown. So if I go below 0, I lose the account. And then you have the realized P&L, unrealized. So if I'm in a position, you'll see this move around. And then obviously some of the other stuff. So I leave that there. The only thing I do to it is I blow it up. So it's just a little bit bigger. You can see when my mouse goes up over it, just so you can see it fully cleanly. Everything else, I just try to be as transparent as possible. And I feel like their platform allows me to do that. I don't really, I don't find it distracting. And then the tilt meter also helps a lot. So they have a lot of things going for them that some of the other companies don't. But I do think that Top Step does. And I think they're trying to grow as well. I think they're trying to do more and more stuff. And, obviously that'll make them even more functional in the future. Apex does a lot of marketing stuff. So they run a ton of discounts and they try to just get you to buy accounts and buy accounts and buy accounts. And that kind of just doesn't sit right with me either. But I do see the leverage on it as well. If you could maximize your leverage like Caesar does, when you're trade copying and stuff like that, it works. Like I mentioned, this blue line is going to be an important area. Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to go about it, Zuka-san. If you're not going to find something early in the day, something that's going to get you to be smart about your trades, just walk away. You don't have to be in front of the screens. You don't have to trade. You don't have to trade. Absolutely. I think that's a smart move. If you feel like you're going to force something, go away. Go do something else. Come back if you feel like maybe you're going to get an opportunity later. But honestly, if I wasn't streaming right now, I probably would have walked away for a little bit. But for the most part, I just kind of want to keep everybody out of this mess. Talk to you about certain reasons why things are happening, why things aren't happening, right? We have to understand that the FOMC is tomorrow. There's going to be light volume. There's going to be all this information coming out with the earnings after market hours today. Thursday, you have Apple. There is going to be plenty of moves to happen. There's no need to just hop in around VWAP. There's no reason to hop in this zone, right? I did mention this move would probably happen if, that was the more likely scenario to occur, but it's not an A+ setup for me, right? I would have been break even here. Then maybe we would have took a couple $100 there. But for the most part, I did see this 29 level acting is going to be the main level of resistance here. If we can get a flush of it, then I can start to get interested in something down here at these levels. But I need to see a really nice setup because it's not going to be clean. It's not going to be high volume. So it's going to probably be more of a grinding trade if I do catch it. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, good luck, Scrooge, with the kittens. I think you'll be just fine in this world of trading if you keep that mindset that you've been having and understand the growth mentality. And if you want to get into futures, we're here for you, all right? See you tomorrow. I'll be on 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning as well. So every day here this week, I'll be here until 11 today. So let's see if we can catch something before that. But I don't, like I said, I'm not going to force it. Same thing like Zuka-san. He walked off. He left because it's just, not a conducive environment to be making money. Cash is a position. Cash is a position. Don't let it fool you. Don't let it trick you into entering stuff just because it's moving. Absolutely. She does give what she gives. And you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. That's it for me. No more songs. All right. Well, if I do not get anywhere near my levels and it just hangs around in this ridiculous range, under 100-point range, even if you go wick to wick, 95, 818, 80 points. You're just in this range here, low volume. Even the breakdown here happened on a little increased volume, but nothing too significant. I do think we grind into our lows here, but do we get an actual setup down here? That'll be the next question that I'm going to be asking myself, right? I don't believe we could. I was mentioning, right, even if we did get into this, I don't think we can get and hold below the 29 level. I think that 29 level is just going to hold us here with the lack of information that we're getting. Price doesn't want to go anywhere. Microsoft literally is just sitting here. It's moved like a penny every couple seconds. Not normal. Nvidia also just trying to fill around that 877 level. I'm going to leave Nvidia up. See what it does. Let's see what's AMD doing pre-earnings. Flat. Just completely sideways. And Amazon pushing onto the lows, kind of grinding through the lows. Let's see what happens the rest of the day with Amazon. Could it pop up? Apple, high base pattern, looking to try and break up into that 175 level. I don't know if it will, but it looks like it wants to. It's just super low volume today. There's not a ton of information going on. You can see, I'm glad that showed you exactly what I was kind of talking about with this. Right? I wanted to kind of just make this a little bit more visible for you. This is our whole entire day here. It looks like there's a lot of action, but I've just kind of zoomed all the way in on the entire day. I did say that this 29 level here was going to act as your pretty much furthest level to the downside that's going to really react. I want this to be even. Whatever, that's fine. We came down, we broke through the first time, didn't get any volume on it, returned right back. Probably you would have got stopped at a break even if that's what you were trailing. Rotated back up, failed it again. This one you could have took, like I said, I expected it once it broke through here to get right onto this 29, 30 level. It flushed it, and then it failed it, and now it's rotating back high side. So if you were targeting lower lows, you have to understand the market environment to say that the most I was probably going to get out of this was down into that level right there. So you have to kind of look to trail it or even just set a profit target if you really want to. I don't set hard profit targets. I run them away from. You'll see me, especially if I do my videos. You'll watch my trailing stop will go and my profit target will go. Because if it does decide that it just wants to melt off and hit off on that, I'll take that money. But I want it to just be running away, and eventually it just catches one of the two, either the stop or the take profit. Because that just kind of maximizes my trail. If it wants to just melt off, then cool, I'm good with it, and I'll take the money. But at the same time, if I could just trail it down and trail it down and trail it down, that kind of just maximizes my gain, like how yesterday went, right? We're going to see what happens here. I don't have any entries. I don't think we'd get very much opportunity today. If I sit here for the entire session and make no trades, it's a win for me. I always struggle with the FOMO, the try to make money every single day type mentality, and it's just not conducive to a long-term successful trading career. So if you could sit here on a day, watch the screen, and not click any buttons, that shows a little bit of discipline, slight bit of discipline. NVIDIA looking to break the low here. My buyout cuts. If you have something that you see as far as executions are concerned, let us know so we can all see what you're seeing, because I see nothing to move. Just because the market moves doesn't mean it's a trade. You could have watched that level there for executions, but I didn't have anything there for you, right? You could see a little bit of a higher low and then a rally off of that, but that's only going to give you the opportunity. I mean, you could have made decent money, 100 ticks there, but even further up, I just don't have the entry for it. Maybe we get into the overnight highs now. We could see if that'll get going, but I don't know if we even have enough force to get through this. Right, this kind of tricky price action here. VWAP loves to be a magnet. Completely flat on the day, zero executions, no opportunities to make any sort of entries for myself. We have never even came close to any of my levels to execute on. I did mention stuff to the stream here that if you do want to play a breakdown of this trend line, it eventually will crack and you will get a move, but the likely move will probably just be to that blue line right there, which exactly kind of played out, and now you're getting a bounce from it. I don't anticipate very much opportunity to come in. If it does, maybe it comes in later in this session. Maybe it comes in at the end of the day. Even if we kind of tickle off on these lows and try to push down, I don't think that we get any sort of follow through the bottom. But also at the same time, I don't know how much follow through we'll get as far as buying pressure through the low back up to the high. It would probably be a slow grinding type move. Same thing from the high side. I don't know if we're going to get enough information today to drive us through yesterday's high. Even this overnight high type, close was right around here, this wick here. So maybe you get up into that 32, that yesterday's close, then you fail maybe the overnight high that way. That could be an opportunity to short us down into VWAP just to keep us range bound for the day. I just need to kind of wait and see what happens. But we haven't got anywhere near any of our levels, so there's nothing to do except for sit here and chit chat, talk about how we're out here every day, 8:30 a.m. to 11 Central Time. I'll be on every day this week. I'll be making sure to provide you whatever value I can. If you're interested in coffee at all, we do run a coffee company, Day Trading Coffee Co. It is a coffee company for traders, by traders, and we will, share you a link. If you're interested in buying some coffee, head over to this site right here. use my username Policing Pips. Get yourself 15% off all your orders. I do want to start a funding fund, so 10% of profits would go to our funding fund, where we're trying to partner with brokerages. Starting with Top Step and some other companies. We're going to look to see if we could get some partnerships going and give back to this Tradecaster community and our streaming community here. Even people who are into the coffee that aren't necessarily watching the stream, we're looking to try and give back to everybody and see what we could do as far as getting 10% out to the people who support us, right? So that's my goal here with the coffee company. So if you are so inclined, head over there. We do have mugs, we have hats, we got shirts, we got whatever you want. You head over there and check it out. It's also the little scrolly bar at the bottom of my screen. That is the website and the code if you don't see it in the links, but you can click the links and be fine with that. April 30th, last day of April. We're going to end the month green for hopefully we're not going to lose 3,100, 3,200 today. It seems like we're not going to do anything today. So looks like we're probably going to end the month green. We already took one withdrawal. We're going to take a second, probably the end of this week. If we could get a few trading days under our belt, we'll take that money and run, and then look to get another, build up that buffer, take some out, build up that buffer, take some out, and just continue to do that cycle over and over and over again. Paying yourself to trade is a beautiful thing. Speaking of, I need to get over to this products. I do need to edit something on these. Nothing happening here. I don't know if anybody has any sort of questions, comments, concerns, ideas on what you want to do as far as trades are concerned. Coffee. I would love to see a rotation to the bottom. That'd be great. Yeah, there's a quick little dump there. You caught it or no? I just don't have any execution on that. Take that money and run. I mean, just probably shorted that high from the 80s down to VWAP. Nice little quick catch. Yeah, I just don't have anything to execute. I don't like to be around VWAP. I like to use it as a target. If this is just going to be a range of, let's give an exact range so you can really feel it. 78 points. For the NQ to be ranging between under 100 points is wild. And I think realistically we're more so staying within this range here of 40 points. 40-point range that we're kind of lingering around, if that. 30 to 40 points. yeah, I mean, it's just nothing to do today. It's just not conducive to executing big moves. Maybe this time it goes and goes down, and you're gonna get some volume to push. Nvidia's breaking down a little bit. I'm being really patient. I mean, if I execute nothing today, fine. But if this does get into my levels, then I'll start to get interested. I'll look for the bounce. I'll look for something to do. I just can't play the VWAP bounces. You can see how much chop goes around here and how much manipulation goes around. So really looking to see if I can get this thing to go. Once again, you kind of just got to not be mad about what you got. You catch what you catch, and that's it, right? Either have good trailing rules where you are totally content every single time you trail out, or if you have to set hard profit targets, set the hard profit target, and then that's it. I think realistically, all you could do is maximize your game based on your game plan and avoid looking at the next few candles, right? If that's going to be your idea on, over and over again, where you're like, damn, I missed out on this much more, then you're going to have a really hard time because the market moves all over all day, right? I've been stopped out for losses where the market goes the totally all the way down the way I want it to go, and I'm fucking pissed. But at the same time, you got to realize you have to just execute to your plan, and that's what's going to keep you profitable long term. Because realistically, based on the way it's been acting around VWAP, your target, short it, catch 10 points, move on. Price is not following through today. Did it follow through there? Yeah, it did. Unfortunately for you, you saw that it did. But realistically, don't worry about that. Whatever happened after you get out of the trade, you executed to your plan, hopefully, and then that's all you could do, right? You're not going to be able to catch every single tick every single time. Nvidia trying to hold 877. Apple rolling over. Microsoft also trying to hit this bottom here. I want to see what happens with Microsoft down at the lows. It seems like it wants to bounce a bit. It's lingering around that 399.20 level. Yeah, Ray, I think the VWAP plays are just too tough right now. This might be the only other thing it's tough for as far as let's see what oil is doing. Oh, that's not even the correct thing to do there. CL. So crude is bouncing a bit. Wednesdays you usually get inventories, so that's tomorrow. Crude from open today has just been melting off. So I don't know. I don't really normally trade oil, but I want to kind of take a look at it just to see what kind of opportunities it presents. We are at the base of this consolidation there for crude. If I'm just going to be marking off levels here, it's going to be there, and there. Just kind of looking at it. Then you got a little bit, you can get a little tighter on that. Gotta be cautious here for those levels. I'm a NASDAQ guy through and through, but I do want to add some things to my portfolio to give myself opportunities on a day-to-day basis. I have not traded crude, but that does look like a nice little short setup there through that low of that session there. So, things like this setting up, I kind of want to watch it, want to see what their trading sessions look like. I don't know the tick value. I don't know anything about crude. So for me to trade it would be silly. I'm just kind of taking a look at it, see where it's at. It's down lower on the day. Go back to S&Ps. Give my actual trading a look. Can we crack through the 29 level? That is a decent wick above for this to be rolling around. It's 5 minutes. It's under 5 minutes to the hourly close. So I usually do not trade within that 5 minutes to hourly close. I have no trade anyway, so I'm just mentioning it as one of my rules here that I do give out. Definitely nothing for me to trade right now. I want it down into my low levels here. See if I could get something from this 10 o'clock hour on. Yesterday, we might have made all the money we were going to make for the month of April the rest of the day. We're going to have to see what happens. I only trade till 11. I'm not going to go past that today. Unless I really see something setting up beautifully right at 11, I might sit there for a few more minutes. My back is bothering me, so I got to stand up for a second. Got into a little brouhaha the other day, and it kind of twisted my back. Yeah. Walk it off. Oh. We are going to be starting to offer K-Cups. If you are a K-Cup person, come probably this week, possibly next week. We'll put it up on the website. I have to clean up some things that are a little bit wrong that I have set up on the site. So, but I will add the K-Cups once I clean up that area. So if you're interested in K-Cups, we do deliver them on order. So just look out for that. All right, it's 10 o'clock a.m. here, Central Time. We have had 0 trades on the day. Later, Jofi. Have a good one. Hopefully you finish up strong. I just need to stretch out. Got to move the legs around a bit. You get stuck at the chair. Super tight. Boy, oh boy, this price action sucks. Can we crack this 29 level? And is it going to be a good level to watch for a bounce again? 25, down at the 25. Give me this low, and then give me just like a flush to 70, and then a rotate back up, and then we could get even a little piece of that would be nice. Just like maybe a rotate back up to 29 through that. If we can get from through the low and then back up above, that'd be nice. That's what I'm looking for. Lower this a little bit. There we go. That's cool. That works. There's a little break of that level. Does it get heavy here? Microsoft is still, once again, trying to break through the lows of the day. Will it get through it and get down to 398, or will it bounce again from here? If Microsoft could get down into that 398 level, that's a good bounce point. Hopefully it'll help drag us down into this overnight low. Then we could get our setup going. This is where I got to avoid, if I do end up getting into this after a rejection of the low, I have to avoid the over trading it. If it doesn't happen the first time, I will not. I just got to consciously not take it again until it totally sets up correctly. But right now, it looks like we just kind of want to sit on this Opening range low here. That was a little speed up in the candle. You saw that little level 2 price action try to speed up some. I don't have a huge size on any of these. 14 lots. I don't have a ton of size. Price is speeding up though. It is a decent area of interest, so be mindful of that. Microsoft just flushed that low. Really beautiful flush of that break. If that's something that you normally trade, the equities wise, right? Break right through that flat bottom break, right directly into that target of 398. So watching that for a bounce. If that does not bounce, then down into, like I said, 396 could be a area of interest for Microsoft. Apple rotating down. Nvidia also trying to break through that 877 level. I think we could get pushed into our lows here and then potentially look to get a rejection of it because I don't see much follow through happening. Although we are getting through that key 829 level where we could rotate even a bit lower prior to tomorrow. So even though we get to this level, doesn't mean I'm going to just immediately limit in and try and rotate it back to the high. I need to see this set up down here if it's going to give me the opportunity to take the long. Going to watch 800. 800 could be where it sets up. It could possibly not hit off on these overnight lows, but trying to give a better view of what's going on. Good heavy delta. Price just still not wanting to follow through. It should kind of continue to go just based on the delta. I want to see it get right onto that 1 standard deviation away from VWAP. That's a nice little area for that bounce play to come in. Russell right dead center of opening range. S&P's below the opening range and NASDAQ below the opening range. If we do get a bounce here, I think a return back to 29 is likely. If we could return through 29 and kind of break it without much issue, then I would watch for a rotation all the way back to the high. Although I don't know how fast it would happen. I think it's going to be a long grind back up that way. I think really a rotation back to 880 could be the only real idea there. If we wait all day to wait for this thing to set up and it comes in and you get the good setup, you have to execute on it. If it doesn't happen by 11, then you get off and you just move on. Nvidia bouncing. Microsoft wicked off that low and now is just kind of holding right there. Hasn't been making much of a move. Right, so possibly could look to hold that. Now it's trying to break down again. Here we go. I did say probably down to 396.50. The ultimate low would be 394, but I don't think it gets that far today. S&P's trying to get to that overnight range low prior to the NQ. Could bounce there prior. Could get to 800. Let's see. Maybe we can get our setup right here. Come on now. Get heavy. Get over to this overnight low. Get magnetized to that 800 level. Draw right into it. See what kind of orders are there and see what we could get out of it. I want to see a heavy delta. Then I want to see a bounce on delta. Then I want to see price not break. I want to see this standard deviation from VWAP hold. A lot of confluence there for that long idea to come into play. But also at the same time, if markets get heavy, they tend to get heavy fast and they continue on. So I want to see something set up. I don't want to just see price arrive at the overnight low and then that's it. Because I can't just execute just because we got to a level. I need some more information to help me make a decision around that zone. I did say down into probably 80, down into 70. There's still room. 70 to 80, right? That area could be an area where there could be a bounce. Doesn't want to get to this low. Grinding price action. Do we get the same bounce from the low that we got from this, 80 level? That would be a nice little price movement for me to kind of try and secure as much as possible. With the volume, with the lack of, momentum on these moves, I think we get a slower grind. This is a nice heavy move to the downside. I think we flushed to 800. So let's see what happens around this 800 level. Now that we're here, S&P's just really wicked hard right into 5120 and it cracked, and now it's getting pretty heavy. So I'm going to be standoffish around here until I see what happens. So you see how S&P is getting really heavy now. I don't like that. I want to see something set up here now. That if that just wicks that bottom and runs to the high side, we don't have a trade. But I think we do get a bounce here to 800, maybe a rotation down into 80. Then we'll play the secondary break back above. Look at that, right onto that VWAP. Delta is now down on those lows. S&P's is pretty heavy. Russell's pretty heavy. I don't trust this to bounce perfectly yet. I said down into 70s, 80s, 70s possible, but we need something to, give us another flush, maybe a heavy tilt to the short side. Then we'll look to go long through this this level here. I'll go long through the low to limit my risk. It is a good bounce location. So if it just bounces quick right here, right now, then that's, it is what it is. But for me, I just do need to be a little patient. I need to see what happens, especially with S&Ps holding below 5120. If S&Ps holds this low and doesn't recover 5120.50, then the rotation possibly does not come in right yet. I think we do kind of play around with this 800 level a little bit before we decide to give the rotation back the other way. I need to see Delta divergence a little bit maybe. You can see a wick off bottom. You see Delta trying to creep up, price trying to push down. I do like that. I need this to go down one more time. I want to try and maybe wick the low one more time. Wick this low one more time, then get back above it. Although crack of 800 could be interesting. I want maybe even like something like this where you get a little bit of a wedging type, tightening of price action down into 80, then the break back above. This is holding below 5120. Microsoft, I did say what we got down to 396.50. So it's holding below 398. It's getting heavy. NASDAQ still heavy. 70, I'd say 80 into 70 is that point where it needs to make a choice. So if you do get a failed breakout here, this is a failure of this level, then I'll go long above here. Because if this fails and rejects that, then it's going to reject pretty fast. But it looks very heavy right now. I just don't know if we have enough volume to continue on or not. Heavy Delta. That's a nice little move to the downside. Very heavy. You see what I mean by not just hammering in here, waiting for some sort of setup to come into play. I did say we have room down between 70 and 80, and we're right there right now. So if this is a point where it rejects, then I'll be happy to take the long through that overnight. I'm going to go through the previous day low area that I have that red line just to give a little bit more confirmation, which is pretty much above the body of this previous candle. So if we do take the long there, it's going to be because we rejected the 70 and 80 level, and then we came back and accepted back into our previous day session. And the only reason I don't trust that this, one of the main reasons I don't trust that this is going to continue on is because of tomorrow and the earnings today. But who knows? It seems like it's getting pretty heavy. So I don't have a huge confidence that this turns around at the moment. Not a ton of information there. We got that low. So this low right here, 5104. So 5100 on the S&Ps. Is that the level that bounces from? Microsoft still selling off pretty heavy. What is Nvidia doing? Also selling off, trying to push through lows of the day. I think there's a bounce point here at 870. Apple rotating downside as well. Pretty much Microsoft keeping us heavy. 396.50, I think I said, right? Is the Microsoft low that I want to be eyeing. 396.50, 396 even. Alrighty. We're right below 70 now, so who knows what happens with this, if it's just going to keep melting off. Could be a nice area of interest. Like I said, sometimes you play the continuation through these key levels. Sometimes you just don't. I'm sure if Jofi's watching this, he's going to be kicking himself because of the continuation, but you can't be mad at stuff that is just not setting up for you. You got to do what the market tells you. And you have to stick to your plan. If your plan is to trail out, take your profits and run, it just is what it is. Can't be mad about missing this move here that didn't quite show its hand, right? This is a heavy, heavy market now. Right down to 396.90. The low is 396.84 in Microsoft. Super heavy. The rejection of that high there at 880 did make sense. You know, we rejected that overhead resistance trend line. Came right back down. Flushed that 29 level, right? That break of that low initiated this selling. As I mentioned, if it does break that right to the overnight low and then see where it ends up, who knows if this is the low or if it's going to rotate back up on us, right? I would love to see this thing fail this whole entire move and push us back up into VWAP. I just don't know with the lack of volume we've had today if we're going to be able to get any sort of movement on that, right? So I'm gonna get rid of this just because we did go a little deeper than I anticipated. I need to do something with these. This has to go to the right. There we go. And I want to just be more precise with these a bit. So let's see. Yesterday is low. Technically, these are reversed. I like this to go up a little higher. We'll use that as the area. We'll use overnight low as previous day low because that is a pretty key level. So I'm going to watch that 97 up into 800, see if that's going to act as any sort of resistance, possibly look to break back above 800. I also then can't just immediately take that now because we got a little deeper than I anticipated. So anything that comes up into here might just be a liquidity grab to continuous downside. I do anticipate today to be more range bound, so possibly looking to see if that range bound type action does bring us back up to VWAP. Yesterday, you got it as push down and then a rotate back to the highs. You could get the same exact type move here today just to kind of screw with people's minds a bit. It was that there yesterday. Down into the lows. Nice hard move, and then it just a grind right back up to the high side. Very similar type price action, right? Chop, 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 chop. Push down, rotate back up, chop, chop, push down, push right back up. So potentially this is what we're looking at here. Do I want to just front run that to, play the break of the overnight low, or wait for that 800 level to get cracked, come back down, fail it one more time, give you a little bit of a hope that you're going to come back down, get some more shorts involved, and then get the long through 800. That would be interesting to me. Give me like a little divergence, right? If price is going to push up harder, give me a nice push up, a lower high, and then another nice little pop. That's really what I would like to look for. Right to that one standard deviation. All right. In order to keep myself from hammering straight in right here, I gotta pee. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Let's see if we can get back above our levels. Will Microsoft reclaim 398? All it's going to take is one good trade here. Let's see if we can get this thing to do what we would like it to do. 69% long. I would like to get, people up in here, get heavy long, push it back down, give us a secondary push to the downside, chop a little here, and then pop above 800. That would be more ideal for me. I want to be on the opposite side. I don't want to wick 800 and then rotate down. You got high volume nodes here at 97 and then up here at 812. So could rip right to the 812. I don't have a continuation idea on this. I think we do rotate back up. Lack of idea here on the yeah, I think that's fair. I think we could bounce here. Got to shoot my shot at it. Not that saying I have to, but if this does set up correctly, I will take my shot at it because I do think it's going to give us an opportunity to make a little bit of money on the day and then, take it and run. Because I think if we do pop through here, we could get a little bit of a continuation, but I need to see this kind of start to set up and then maybe manipulate once before going the true first time. So if it kind of rips right through here right now, I want to see a pullback to it, and then I'll play the long. I don't think I want a straight pop off. If you get that divergence here, right, if price tries to push down to here and delta stays up there, then maybe then the rotation does happen faster. You had higher volume on the break here, diminishing volume on the way down, still low on the volume here. Look to see maybe we could get that little push up. I want to get like a little bit of manipulation going. Maybe try and come down again and then pop it the second time. And it's not like I'm looking for crazy targets. I'm just going to trail it out as I go. Obviously, first target's going to be that 29 level, VWAP, and then maybe we can get to the highs. I don't expect that kind of pop to come in, though. Delta flattening, price staying up here. If we could hold this standard deviation away from the VWAP, you can see we wicked it, came above it, held it, then ground back up. Kind of going to be a very similar type move here, possibly. I wouldn't hate front running it through 80. but I don't like that, as it could be a possible manipulation and run it down. So I am just going to be patient, let it do its thing, dance around a bit. If you are in on a short, good on you. I didn't have any sort of setup for that idea to come into play, and this is why I don't just limit in at my levels. I wait for a setup to come in, and I kind of want to see some sort of grinding type action or manipulation around my level to take it the other way, right? This is not an A+ setup. This is not, right? This needed to happen a little bit higher for us to get the long up through there. Potentially, it could come in and break through the highs, but we're going to wait for that confirmation to get in on that, right? Otherwise, we're going to just keep pushing downside. And we have this purple zone below here. That's interesting as far as targets are concerned. Overall, pretty happy with not having clicked any buttons for over 2 hours as far as entering or exiting anything that isn't my A+ setup. Yes, moves happened. Yes, we didn't catch them, but this was nothing here telling me that this wanted to get heavy and flush the way it did. So, I can't enter into something that's not my setup. Cash is king. So if I'm going to maintain this balance for the week, I'm going to not execute on poor setups. We are in my area of interest, but we burnt right through it. So if we could burn back through it the other way, that would be my goal. But Microsoft's still selling off. I think Microsoft now down into 396, 60. I think the 50 area, even down into 396, even could give you a bounce. And if that is the case, if Microsoft does bounce off the 396 level, then watch for the S&Ps and the NQ to turn around from there as well. So I'm watching Microsoft to see if that's going to be the case. And this 52 level is very important as well. So that's a nice little setup there, right? High or low, pushing up. Do we break through this high or not? Good delta. Trying to push through the high, right? Price pushed down, made new lows. Delta did not make the same type of low that this price did, right? Delta's trying to pop its head above here. Could look to get above this deviation, right? Price is trying to push down. Delta is not, right? You're getting buyers here trying to come in and prop this up. Nice little setup here. Could give you that little pop that you're looking for from this level. If S&Ps can reclaim 5120, then I think we could reclaim this 800 level and rotate back up. So that's where I'm at with my thought process on this. Microsoft giving you a little bit of a pop. Not much, but a little bit. NVIDIA looking to rotate back above 877. Apple still kind of grinding downside. I'll watch NVIDIA. See if NVIDIA can get back above 877. See if Microsoft does anything as well. Microsoft can push. AMD chopping around could catch you a bit here. I've been watching Microsoft. I'm going to keep watching Microsoft. I love this kind of setup here after a big move. I would have really liked it if it was up here at the previous day low, overnight low area. A lot of confluence there for a breakdown, but also a recovery of that area is a reacceptance back into the zone. And you can see up into the value area high is up here. This is where the value area is. Point of control is just below at 820. Looking like we want to hold above this VWAP. Trying our best. Making new highs in Delta. Price not quite making new highs. If you do start to make new highs in price, I would expect a magnet up into 96. Again, price trying to push down. You can see price right here. This is where we're at. Price ticking downside, downside, downside. Delta, on the other hand, is showing buyers. We're showing buyers at the highs, trying to push through here. If this could give you like a wiki type action down here at the lows, you can maybe cheat on it to rotate it back up. You know, break through this little wedge here probably gives you a little bit of a pop because of that delta. Man, even these setups are slow and not really what I like to see for myself. Hopefully I'm keeping you out of making stupid trades. If you ended up taking this short, great. That was fantastic. You know, rejection of that 80 level again. Didn't really give you much resistance until you got to that 30, that 29 level. Bounced and then just flushed from there. I do feel like we are wedging out here. There's a good chance that we could pop to the high side based on the way the delta is acting. A tilt slightly long, you know, could be meaning that a lot of people are trying to get buyers down here. I did say that down at between that 70 and 80 area would be a good area for this price to pull back into, to reject and give you a bounce, right? So if you do break this little piece here, there's your pop in delta. Price needs to go. Didn't quite go. So delta made new highs. Price did not make new highs. Are we going to get a hard delta press down because of a failed rejection, failed break? Or are we going to get the price to catch up? Looks like price wants to catch up. Microsoft. Still right at that 396. 62 is the low. I'd say 50 was around the area that I was interested in, but if it's close, it's close. Nice little push down. Potential break of that low. It's all about timing this. The momentum is to the downside. We do have through this low here, 740, 750, and then below 750, if you really get frisky, down to 17,000 even. 17,700, I apologize. There's more heaviness. There's a nice little wiki action there. Did delta catch up? Absolutely. Big, heavy delta candle. So which one was the divergence? The divergence was price won this battle here, right? Looks like that heavy, heavy delta came in. You failed to break out. Since you failed to break out with buyers involved, the sellers came in heavy and hard. Could be just consistent grind to the downside for the rest of this session. Who knows? 750 got tagged, wicked. If it rotates through this low and back up through the highs, then possibly you could take a long from here through and see if you can get more. Or if it's just going to continue downside, it's just a heaviness that from that 80 level that just you accumulated a ton of orders here. That wick really telling you something up there above 80 and then rotating back down. I had no opportunities, especially in the middle of my zones. Lots of chop. If I miss these moves, I'm okay with it. You know, we only got 30 minutes left in the stream. This was a higher volume break to the downside. Could add some interest in this. But, you know, realistically, if this fails this level here, if you go long through that level based on this being a wick off failed break to the downside, right? A higher low, you got this is another indication of a delta divergence, right? You can see this going on. Higher low in delta and a lower high in price. Lower low in price, right? You're seeing that diverge. I think I will take that long right there through that 775 level. If we can get through 775, hopefully we can break right up and through the overnight low, previous day low, up to 800, and then I could start to get, tight on my stop up there, and then hopefully we could break that with no issue. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. I just anticipate this being a rangy type day, and that this continuation just doesn't have the oomph to continue to follow through. That's my thought process behind it. If it's going to be grindy, if it's going to continue downside over, the whole time, then, it is what it is. We won't get triggered in. All right, let's see what happens here. See if we can get this thing to get us triggered in long. Do I want to be above? Yeah, 775 is a low volume node. Should be able to get through it and then back through to 80. See if we can get up into that 97 area. That red line could be the ultimate area of resistance, but I think we can still get through it. I don't want to get triggered in just above this area at 70 because I think this could still wick this little resistance area, right? This little area here could still act as resistance and then be a false breakout and then rotate us down again. So I don't want to just get triggered in and rotate down. I want to get confirmed through this breakdown point back above 75 and up into the overnight lows. I want it to be more of like a fast move through there. I want that tilt to be heavy short too. I want retail to get really short, which I didn't see if it was or not. S&P's is heavier long. We're taking this one shot here at the front run it through the lows. If it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, we're not going to get triggered. It's 10 points that I'm giving it to not just trigger me in. So if it just tickles me in and rotates down, I'd find that funny. But this is why I didn't enter right there, because I find that first little push up is usually manipulation. If we can get some solid close above here within the minute, and then the rotate up should happen. So we will do this. We'll stop recording that. We'll start recording here. Considering this long, you can see the buy order is out there. I want to see if this will rotate us through this 775, or if we're just going to continue to grind downside. Like I said, I do like this Delta divergence here. Delta constantly getting brand new buyers looking to get bid into here. Lower lows on the price, higher lows on the Delta. There is a good divergence there for a pop back to the. I would like to get to VWAP. Really, that would be a great a great target to have. I don't know if we get totally to VWAP before I get trailed out, but that would be my target for this trade here. Expecting resistance at up into 800. Microsoft curling, Nvidia curling, Apple, just Apple doing Apple things, grinding to the downside. Amazon looking to bounce. Nvidia. I think we go. I think we're going to rotate back to the VWAP. I think this is just a range type day. I don't think we have enough information to give us the follow through to the downside on a continuation type play. So this liquidity grab here, break above this trend, break above this breakdown candle where there was some higher volume. So the higher volume should hold us down if it's a true sell. If it's not a true sell, then this will kind of crack through the high here and then rotate out. But the higher volume break of a higher volume candle just kind of cancels out that breakdown. And then you're looking at a higher delta, right? Price continuously making higher highs. Continuously making lower highs and lower lows. Delta making that same opposite action there. Russell trying to creep back up too. Russell made a higher low. Russell's been kind of leading us around about. So maybe if it could pop up a bit, then we can get it to go. Could I even get lower on this entry and really mitigate my loss here? Or just try and get in quick and then trail up tight? NVIDIA rotating downside again. Like I mentioned, if this is a high volume breakdown, if the price can get above the high volume area and hold, that means it kind of cancels out the high volume of the selling, and then we possibly look to rotate up. But I don't have a huge bit of information. We have some buyers at 63 of decent size, 227 lots got filled. So probably somebody that's selling, buying about 50 to 100 lots, trying to get filled there at 63. That was when we got to that wick area. So potentially watch to see if that'll go. But NVIDIA is starting to push back downside. So Microsoft still curling up. So I'm going to eyeball Microsoft, eyeball NVIDIA. If NVIDIA could get above 877, maybe this goes. If it holds down here at the lows, then the crack down to 17,700 probably is more likely. About 20 minutes left in the stream. If I don't get an execution by then we probably don't get anything. We definitely don't get anything. You're rotating this delta back to the downside. Now price is holding up better than delta, right? Price is trying to hold highs. Delta's creeping down to the bottom end of this little uptrend type wedge thing here. So maybe if this delta cracks this low, then price is going to try and get down through the lows as well, right? Price, if this cracks through here, then price might want to catch up. I want to see Russell just give like a nice big green candle. There's that big crack at delta there. So that crack at delta probably dragging us down to the lows now. That's very interesting that huge delta crack came in. You saw that price was lingering up here. The short probably now gets heavier. If you watch the delta carefully, you could kind of lead and lag yourself, right? You saw that delta was creeping down. Price was lingering up here. Once you crack this low, you got a huge bit of sellers coming in. Price trying to catch up to it. That's a really heavy delta. A lot of sellers coming in here. Who knows if that's going to be the opposite direction now with price not following through. There it goes. There's the price action that we're looking at. So I'm very happy with the staying out. This is just not something that sets up for me correctly. If it gets above here, maybe the 69 level, potentially that's a break point. NVIDIA is still cracking the low of the day. Microsoft just flatten here at 396.75. Could make another base and then break. If I get no trades on the day, I'll be happy. If I get one good one in here, I'll also be happy. I'm just literally just trying to be as patient as possible. Try my best to avoid just jumping into stuff just to jump into it. This type of pattern, right, kind of ended up getting itself dragged down with once Delta started to creep down, that price actually started to creep down. You had a little bit of an idea of follow through. I'm going to notate that in my head for the future for something of that nature where I see price kind of trying to hold up while Delta's dumping in the inverse, right? Then that can just give you the confidence to continue your short. Either to keep me in a trade or to get me in something at a key level. Still don't have buyers coming in here. Do we bounce off of here? Do we rotate back up one more time up into 50? Or do we just continue to grind down into the 17,700 even level? Seems kind of likely too. Although Russell held up. S&P's trying to hop up. Delta popping a little. Let's keep this alive. I don't like this actual location of that, so I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to wait a second. Stop recording. Coming in here to 10:45, just about here Central Time, looking to maybe execute our first trade of the day. Still have 0 executions. The choppiness of the market, the lower volume, the anticipation for me to think that today price stays probably within this range or grinds in a direction, which is right now it seems like it's grinding downside, getting itself ready for possible earnings. Whatever is going to come out earnings-wise for AMD, Amazon, and SMCI. Is it positioning itself for a long aftermarket hours, or are we just going to rotate off of this level and back up to highs? For me, potentially looking to see if we could get above this 70 level to rotate ourselves back up to VWAP, probably up into that 29 level, and then see if it's going to be a rejection or a continuation type play. But for me, I think with the lack of hard follow through on any of these, push down, except for right here, we're going to look to see if we can fade it back. But I'm not going to just hammer in just to hammer in. I want to see what NVIDIA is doing. Microsoft's still on the lows. NVIDIA flushed the low and now is trying to just hold above the previous low at 871. So we'll see if it could hold that and continue to rotate up. With Amazon selling off so hard pre-earnings, the way that AK mentioned it about the last few earnings plays could lead to Amazon having a nice hard dump melt off after earnings, no matter what the earnings says. So just be mindful of what he was mentioning there. If you take a look at his pre-market weekly outlook video, he does mention the earnings stuff and how to play it. I do want to try and catch a bounce. I don't think we're going to get it perfectly. And I don't need to catch a huge move. I just want to see something pop. Heavy delta, pushing back up into here. Now you're getting a lower high. A lower low. Holding below this 1 standard deviation of VWAP. We have that volume node here at 55. That was a breakdown point. Could get above that, get above 69. There's another increasingly lower high. Increasingly lower. Nothing doing for me. Just a bunch of nothing for me. Keeping myself out of this trade here. Great. Very happy with that. It would have been cool to catch anything on that, but realistically, nothing set up anywhere near a zone, anywhere near a level. I mentioned I don't just limit in and just look for a bounce from my levels. I look for a setup, and obviously it just burnt right through my levels there, and I didn't execute anything. We did a good job of avoiding it. We saw a big time delta divergence coming in here with diminishing lower highs and lower lows on price, and delta was showing higher highs and higher lows, possibly indicating a reversal from that point. What did we get? We did not get a reversal. We actually got more continuation after a big sell-off, break through that, creating now a confluence between delta and price. If price now starts to make higher highs and higher lows, then potentially looking for that to be the other type of divergence that we always look for, right? Where price and delta are trying to counteract each other. Before it was price was acting stronger. Now it seems like, Delta tried to drag it down, which it did, trying to do it again. We'll see if we could get the price to push back up into this level or not. Microsoft broke the low. Does it hold and give you a harder flush? Is this just one of those days where you just missed out on that short opportunity and it never looks back? Just a slow grinding price action back to the high side. I think a recovery above this 30-minute candle, above, if the 30-minute closes below where, right around 52, then the rotation back to the high side probably doesn't come in. We continue down to 17,700, and the low there possibly 698.50 down into 80. So we could rotate all the way down into there in anticipation for tomorrow's Fed meetings and all that stuff. So I'll watch this bounce point here too. So this is that level there. You can see it's kind of hitting off on some resistance here. We do have some room down into this purple zone where there was a bounce flush, fake out, rotate back higher. Could that be the same thing that happens where we're at right now? That was a 15-minute chart. We're going to go back to the 1 minute, get ourselves our bearings on this. Still, right here, we got a breakdown, higher volume, a little bit higher volume on this one, and then kind of just still sitting flat, lower volume. Hey, Max. What's up, dude? What's up, man? Nice hairdo. Did you do that?
No, I did.
Mommy did that?
Yes, we want to very fancy.
You're very fancy today.
What
Oh.
is this?
That's my wallet.
Okay, you want to say goodbye? Like you want to hear?
You want to say goodbye to everybody? Are you leaving?
Bye.
Come on, hop up. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Hey, that's my thing.
You can see yourself on the screen. Whoa, where are you going? Say goodbye.
Say bye-bye.
Say bye. Bye. Your hair smells very nice, dude.
Fancy hair.
Fancy hair.
You made me do a minute and fancy.
There you go. All right, buddy. Hop down. We got 10 minutes left in the trading session. Possibly look to see if we could double bottom here, bounce, rotate up through 60, but it seems like it just kind of wants to continue to grind down. If you don't have entries, if you don't have levels, if you don't have a setup that suits your setup, then you got a big face in your screen there with Maximus coming into your living room, to your computer. Don't force stuff in. Like I said, I have 0 executions on the day. Nothing to do. Hey. All right, goodbye. Say goodbye. Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye, guys. See you tomorrow.
All righty. Say see you tomorrow, bud.
See you, bye, bye.
All right.
What would you have to say?
Alrighty. He's done for the day. I'm close. About 9 minutes left. Kind of considering this long through 60 to get us back to the overnight lows, previous day's lows. We are getting that little bit of like a tightening wedge pattern here that I like a lot of times to give me a pop, especially when you get this lower high here. A crack through this high volume node here at 54. So break back above this little tiny zone there could give you a nice little pop. But do I think it's going to come right here, right now? I don't think so. I think possibly it waits till after 11. And I bet you I get off the stream and things happen. But I am not going to be entering here right this second. We're going to continue to wait. Be patient. Can we get above 60? Really starting to get heavy. Just grinding, but lack of follow through. You always got to watch for that follow through. Is there a good follow through? Now you're starting to see price speeding up a bit. Delta's flat. Price is speeding up. Delta is flat. Maybe get a break above here. Get above 60. maybe we consider the longs if we can get back above 60. Potential diminishing push down here could get that little pop right to that overnight low. Microsoft looking to curl back up to 397. We're at 396.79. It wicked above 397 and then failed it, but it's still trying to like double bottom there. The low is at 396.40, and I did mention that 396.50-ish area is a area of support for Microsoft. So a curl in Microsoft could lead to the NQ curling some. NVIDIA is at the pre-market low currently. So if it does catch a bounce from here, that also could help this cause out. But if it flushes the pre-market low down to 863.75, it goes. And then who knows where it goes beyond there and if the NQ follows, right? So let's see. This goes through 53 potentially to go long up into the overnight low. We have 1 minute till we can't execute a trade, right? I do not trade within 5 minutes of an hourly close. So if it breaks out above here in another minute, I don't really have an opportunity. 30 seconds till I can't execute another trade. So I like to let it settle down. I might watch just after 11 to see kind of what happens. I'll stay on the stream until I totally call it a day. Like I said, right now, just nothing doing for me. Just very patient, waiting to see what happens. We are now pretty much at the point where I can't execute until after 11 a.m. So let this thing do its thing, dance around. Once the 11 o'clock candle hits, dances around a bit, then potentially we could be interested. I did say that I want to see this 30-minute candle close above 53. So it needs to close up above this 53 level for me to be considering it to possibly turn around here. If the 30-minute candle closes, the hourly candle closes down here below that 53, then that potentially could lead to continuation. But right now I got 5 minutes. I can't execute right here. It's going to probably pop off and I'm going to miss it, but it's okay. I'm okay with it hanging around there. My original entry there was at 70, right? Where I was looking to get above 70. So I'm cool with it dancing around here. I would like it to close above this level right now in order to tell me that it's possibly looking to rotate back the other way. And then a rotation back above 75 could give me that long idea. We are on stream every day, 8:30 a.m. Central to 11 Central. Did not execute a single trade today. Yesterday we executed one trade pretty much within 1 minute of market opening, and we were done within 15 minutes. Today we have 0 trades, been on the charts all day for 2.5 hours. Nothing doing. So like I said, I don't trade within the last 5 minutes of an hourly close. I want to see where this closes hourly, 30-minute wise. And then if I can get a rotation through the other side of that level, right, that's 70, 75, then potentially I could say that we could continue on and give me a better idea of a long through those levels. I'm very much not wanting to trade much after 11. So 11:15, be done with this and go about my day. I got to edit some things on the website for the coffee company and all that stuff. So I appreciate you hanging around, even though we didn't make any trades. I wanted to just show you that, dealing in the middle of the chop, dealing in the middle of that stuff is just not worth your time. So just be mindful of all that. 75 level possibly could rotate through that. That would be the break above this previous 30-minute candle, or this current 30-minute candle, I should say. We have 3 minutes left in this candle. Let's see where it ends up. But right there, like I said, that break above that level gives you a bit of a pop. So from 50 to 70, probably that's a nice 20-point move there. I want to see maybe another push down and sit right on that 53. I don't want to break 75 quite yet. Delta trying, price. You can see price was well up here. Delta was not, but you are starting to see a heavier buying pressure push in. There you go. So that's just my rule, keeping me out in that 5 minutes to the hourly close and letting this 30-minute, this hourly candle close. If I could get a rotation after this closes, if this can close kind of right in the range where it's at now, and then on the next 30-minute candle open, hourly candle open, we rotate back up above that 75 level, then that possibly leads us to rotate up into the previous day low into VWAP, and that's where I want my targets to be. So that's where we're at with my thought process on this. NVIDIA held the pre-market low. You went 42 to 60, so take it. I'll take that. That's a good little long. If Microsoft's going to recover, I did mention that it's going to be the low of 396.50. It went down to 40. We are rotating up nicely on the Microsoft chart there. We're at 58. How many seconds left in this candle here? 10 seconds left in this candle. See if we can get a little bit of a push down, maybe down into that 54 area there, right? If price can push down to 54, close just above 53, then potentially we look to see if we can get the long through 75. Or even the high of this through 70, because that should lead that next candle to be canceling out the high of that previous 30-minute candle. Ten seconds left. See if this will close. I mean, it seems like it wants to close here up above that 53, which does tell me a little bit of a turn. Hourly, 30-minute wise, Delta kind of just flattening out here. I want to see maybe we get above 75. If we could push down now a little bit and then pop above 75, that'd be really nice. We are here at 11 o'clock. Stream normally goes 8:30 to 11. I'm eyeballing a certain key level here at 75 to see if we do crack above here. That 30-minute candle close above 53, so anything over 774 should give you a long entry above here, which gives, because a push through that 775 and then up through into that previous day low, and then I'll start to tighten up as I get there. I want to see if that level will go. That was kind of the idea before we had this next flush down, but now we're into that next 30-minute, next hourly candle. If we can cancel out some of this, if we get above this previous 30-minute, which is right where that entry is right there, that's one tick above the previous 30-minute candle, potentially look to go up and through to that high. But it could still just melt off now from here. Just watch that 53 level, right where we're coming into right now. I find that to be an interesting level there. It's kind of flushing through that. So this is why I wait. You wait. You see, you confirm. You wait for that 30-minute to close. You wait for the hourly candle to close. You got a heavy delta here. Price kind of pushed up here. Delta flattened out. Price pushed down. We're getting right into that VWAP. That one standard deviation away from VWAP. If it could give you a hard push down here and then a rejection, push back up through 75, could give you that entry for that long, right? This is where I want to be right with more force. I want to be right quicker. I don't want to just tickle in and then dance around and do all that stuff. This is where I have that idea for getting through a key level, canceling out a 30-minute candle, the previous 30-minute candle. Because realistically, if this new candle, if it does push up above there, that gives you a nice long wick bottom on a 30-minute. If you go look over here on this chart, our entry is right up here at 74, right just above there. This would reject the bottom end of this little wedge, whatever we got going on this channel. And then if it does get above this 30-minute candle here, this prior 30-minute candle, you would expect a little bit of volume to come in to push us back up into possibly that 29 level. And that's what I would be looking for as far as this is concerned for this trade idea. So that's where I'm at with this. I'm not going to stay here longer than like 11:15 because I think if this happens, it happens sooner rather than later. Microsoft was curling up. Nvidia also curling upside. So I think if Nvidia can crack and break above higher, AMD still flat. Amazon still heavy. Tesla bouncing off that key 183 level. I want to see what Nvidia does. If it can break some of this downtrend, then that goes. I want this to rotate really up to 29. I mean, that's my ultimate real good target. But if it does start to catch that kind of bid, it might start to get more buyers and more buyers to pile into it. You got a bottom, a bunch of wicks, a higher low here. So then if you break through this 30-minute candle top end of it, you have a long wicking tail on that 30-minute to push you up into that VWAP. I'll give it about 10 more minutes, and then I'm gonna bounce from today. Like I said, normally the stream goes 8:30 Central to 11 Central every day. We'll be here again 8:30 tomorrow. Look for an opportunity. Today we didn't really get anything. If we do get above here and into this trade, and we'll stay on for a little bit. But like I said, I think up until 11:15, if this doesn't happen by then, I don't think this is going to really happen. This might just continue to grind down the rest of the day. But I do want to see what happens over the next few minutes to just give this an opportunity, give myself a chance to make a little bit of money, even if it's a little bit post-stream time. Anything that happens right now is really kind of make my decision easy. If it kind of breaks through the lows here, potentially could be an easy choice to just cut and go. If it does accumulate some and then start to pop off, we'll probably get in. So let's just watch this, see if this is going to make a new higher low or if it's going to make a lower low and then go. But NVIDIA is catching a little bit of a bounce, looking like it wants to crack through the 873 level. If it does bounce through 873, NVIDIA and Microsoft, let's see what that's doing. Still looking to kind of curl upside, so we are still on the right side of the V. Need to watch what's going to happen with this price action. This is purely based on that 30-minute chart rejection. Also, our pre-market levels trying to get accepted through those, kind of cheating that level a little bit. It is a good setup for me. It's just a matter of will it kind of play out and give me that opportunity, right? Because you broke out of this downtrend here, this little wedge. You break out, you come back down, you retest it. You look to break through that actual key level, that 30-minute level, with some force. And that's where I want to see that pop and go. I don't know if we get it because just on a low volume day, in the low volume hour of 11 to 12, 12 to 1, that's where you're going to start to get some of these slower kind of dragged out moves. So I don't really necessarily want to wait, all day to see if this is going to go. If it goes after I get off the stream, then so be it. But at the end of the day, we just kind of have to put ourselves in a good position to execute good executions while we're on, and then not try to force anything in, stay around just because, something might come, right? I want to be here and do what I got to do and then get out. Like I said, I have to edit up the website some. There's a few things I need to do outside of the trading world right now to kind of make my days off a little functional. Nvidia is pushing up a little though. I think we might catch up some. Let's see what this Delta's doing. Delta's starting to creep up a little. I'm going to keep this out here because I like the way this played and I want to keep that in mind. We're holding this standard deviation of VWAP. You are starting to get Delta to kind of creep upside while price is trying to creep downside, right? You got the diminishing here, but you see Delta pushing up while price was trying to tick down. So this could be that next little leg up. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. You also have this area here for a breakdown down into 770, 720, down into 700. If that's what's going to happen, then we're going to just exit this and then walk away. People wonder why I do stop orders and try to get into moves. I like price to be going in my direction when I'm entering. I don't want to be limiting in and getting run over, especially when I'm trying to limit some of my risk on the trade. If I get some slippage, it means that the price is going in my direction pretty quickly. I'm okay with that. I'm willing to lose some of my gains on a little bit of slippage if it's going to pop off pretty hard, right? So that's just kind of my thought process on it. Everybody differs how they like to enter, why they like to enter. When I did equities, you do get some rebates for providing liquidity to the market with limit orders, getting on the book. So there is a benefit to that as far as the equities are concerned, especially when you start trading higher volume. But when it comes to futures, it's the same, no matter what. So I'm going to just do what I need to do to keep my my ideas going. If we could bounce from here, maybe we do get that pop. So 5 more minutes till I decide to get off or not. If price is approaching that buy order, then we'll just hang out here and wait and see what happens up there. If it kind of hangs around here on the lows and kind of holds itself along that bottom trend line, and I see like Nvidia or Microsoft start to really sell off pretty hard, then I'm going to decide to no longer be involved. Hopefully everybody got some value out of today, even though we didn't really execute anything. I really like to be out here trying to talk you through what I see on a trade by trade basis, what price is doing, what some of these fundamentals are telling us. We are starting to tick back up here. I do see some strength coming into Nvidia. If Nvidia does break above this level currently, right? If we can get above, well, call it 75-ish. It might get on a rally because Nvidia does love to rally, unruly wise. It just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. And if Microsoft could follow a bit, we are approaching our market order here, our stop order here. So I will maybe get triggered into this, and we'll see what happens. I think we're going to get triggered here, so I'm going to run the sirens on you. If we get triggered, I'll run the sirens. If we don't get triggered, then we'll still be out. Nvidia right at the high end of this little channel here. Is this a lower high or a double top here? We got Delta trying to push up, getting a nice little strong push. See if it does want to give us one more leg up. Nvidia looking like maybe it's going to rotate downside. If it does, then we're done. 2 more minutes. NVIDIA looking like it wants to pop off here. If NVIDIA does go, then this possible lower height, this little wedge type thing that goes on here might pop us as well. So we will probably get involved in our long. Does it follow through or not is the question of the day. Are we going to wait all day till 11:15 to possibly catch a small piece of a move here? Let's see what happens. Can we get triggered into this? Let's see if we can get triggered. Looking to see if we get entered, Maximus. Yes.
You gotta take a shower.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
Mommy said you gotta go to the shower. Change, and then you're gonna go to the park with me.
Oh, we're going to go to the park.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see if this trade goes, and then we'll go take a shower.
Mommy just ready to say that.
Okay, thank you, Maximus. I'll do that.
See ya.
See ya.
But the door's open.
I do consider this an A plus based on a lot of the confluences as far as NVIDIA catching a bid. Because if NVIDIA starts to rally here and gets through its next higher level at 877, I'm just sort of front running my previous day levels. I think if we could break through this 30-minute candle high, then we will get to my previous day lows and overnight lows, and then I'll consider this an A plus based on that, as well as, well, the only thing I actually don't like right now is that 77% long tilt. I don't want that to be so heavy long, honestly. But I like the higher low, Delta trying to act in the same direction that we're acting. Everything about this tells me that we want to rotate back to be where we were. And I think a lot of sideways action happens until the Fed meeting tomorrow and actually earnings tonight. So I want this to be an A plus as far as getting up and through that previous day low and an overnight low. This should pop because it should cancel out that previous 30-minute candle, that hourly candle as well. So I'm really looking for that as far as that's concerned. So yes, A plus in the sense that I have a lot of confluence and my ability to kind of read the opposite end of this becoming the other end of the bottom, right? We're trying to be coming onto the other side of a trend. If this is just going to wick this and rotate down, then it is what it is. I get stopped out. But the cancellation of a 30-minute candle usually leads to a bit of a pop, a little volume spike, and I want to at least get to my overnight levels, and then I want to try and get through to the VWAP. So yes, A plus for me personally. But it's all relative to what your setups are. If I start to see a heavy delta, though, I may get out, but I want to see delta hold these highs here, while price takes a breather, gets into this high volume node here at 64, 65, and then delta push up, and then price will push up. Volume should go. This should be, it's running its head into some resistance, and then it usually will break with some pretty good force, and then we could probably get our stop to break even sort of quickly on it, take our chance, have a free trade, and then see if we can get up and through those previous day levels, and that's my goal there. If we kind of push back down into this level one more time, I'll be out. I'll take this order off, and we'll go on with our day. Delta still holding up, still holding up, still holding up. S&P's trying to crack and break above. If S&P's goes first, you'll see this come and play out afterwards. If S&P starts to roll, then you'll see this go as well. So let's see what Microsoft's doing real quick. Actually, Microsoft, I can see it's on the top chart there. Still kind of creeping up, lingering. NVIDIA also just lingering here, not quite giving you that pop. Like I said, if we rotate down one more time to that blue line, I will be deciding to just shut the computer down and go to the park with the little boy who just came in here. Take him to the park. If it gets down there, we do not take the trade. If it holds up here, then we will think about it for a little bit longer. This high volume node here is 64. If that breaks, usually it'll get above that pretty forcefully, but looks like we want to rotate down. But Delta's still holding up some. Starting to get a little heavier on the price. Delta still holding up, still holding up. I want to see what's going on this book map here. Heat map. What kind of orders we got going on? I don't get any huge order size that I see on the book here. Delta, Delta, Delta. Price here. If we get above 65. If it gets down below this level, then we get out. And then we'll not enter. If we get above 65, then we'll wait. You get another higher high, a higher low here. Make a new higher high, because this is a significantly higher low here.
The bath is ready.
The bath is ready. Okay, I'll be there in a minute.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Maximus. Okay. We'll see if the 65 level holds, right? With a strong delta push, looks like it's a nice pop, possibly. So there's a high volume node here, 64, 65. There's a lot of volume to be had. If it can get through that volume, it should pop through our 74 level and then rotate to the next volume area, which is 800. Volume nodes act as magnets for targets for me, because it's where price likes to be executed. And I say if we hold above 65, then through 74, and then it should be like a nice push up into 800 sort of quickly, because there were some lower volume areas here that don't really have a ton of orders to be executed from 80 and above. So NVIDIA looking like it wants to crack its high of this whole downtrend. If it can do that, then we should pop. Patience, 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 patience.
The bath is gonna be all cold.
It's not going to be cold.
Yes, it
I have 2 more minutes and then I'll be done.
It's gonna be super cold.
Super cold. Oh no.
See you tomorrow.
See you later, buddy. So you can see Delta still creeping up here. Delta pushing up, Delta pushing up, Delta pushing up. Price trying to get above here, holding that 65 volume node. You can see right here on the right here, this higher volume area. If we can get through it, should pop. There's a nice little Delta push. You can see it's going, it's going, it's going. We're probably going to get triggered in here. If we get triggered in, I want to see 800 happen sort of quick. Patience, patience. Let it happen. We're at 74 quarters. And there's that area there. We're gonna risk our 250. See what happens. See what happens here. Can we get a pop? I would like to get up into VWAP. That'd be nice. But I want to get into 800 sort of quickly. If it doesn't go there, then we're gonna get ourselves stopped out and be done for the day. One quick idea on this trade, and that was that. I do like this kind of trying to hold. It's holding. I would have liked to have had a volume pop break of this area pretty quickly. Let's see what the delta is doing. Yeah, nice strong delta. I think we still have a good push to the high side here. Even though price is trying to reject it some, there is a buyers coming in there. Oh, it's 83% long on the tilt. I don't like that. That's not good. Hopefully that could just get us a little bit of a pop though. And maybe get somebody short up there at 80. That tilt, fuck, blew it. Tilt got me, I think, on that. This tilt meter, not tilt personally. The tilt meter is at 83%. Maybe they'll be right this time. A lot of times I don't like to use that if it's heavy long. You can see the delta is pushing upside. Price should want to go with it. S&P's is trying. Usually I want to be right quick. Hello, I'll be done in a second. $65, I said, right? Was that low, that volume node? So I want to be wrong below 65. Price going, price not wanting to go. Delta pushing, giving you that heavy, buyer sentiment there. Trying to hit in on longs. If I start to see a super heavy delta here, I'm going to just hammer out of this trade. Delta ticks down a bit more. Price wants to go. Price wants to go. Yeah, I don't like that heavy tilt to the long side for the retail tilt, but let's see if we can get this thing up there. If we can get up above 80, then I'm going to go to break even. If we can't get above 80, then we're probably going to get stopped out here. I'm going to only risk 100 bucks on this now. Let's see if we can get above 80. Nvidia rejecting that level. Not liking that. I'm only risking 120 on this. If it goes down below here, I think we're out no matter what. I'm just going to take that loss and move on and get out of here. But I did like this break of 75. The only thing that I don't like is that heavy tilt on the retail end. Hopefully it just plays in our favor a little bit. One little pressure to the high side, and then we can get ourselves break even, free trade, and then see what happens from there. So if we get above 80 or into 80, above these wicks even could probably get us to break even, because that should give us a some sort of whippy action there. It's going to get heavy based on that tilt, I think. Yeah, 120 still. I'm just going to leave that alone. But if we can get above there, we can definitely see this thing push. I waited a long time. I got out. All right, locking myself out here. Small loser on the day. I don't want to trade anymore. This is why we don't execute afterwards. Like I said, A+ based on every other confluence, but Nvidia just never ended up following through. And I once I saw this tilt got super heavy long. I don't want to be super heavy long when retail is heavy long. That's just not my game. It could go. It could hold this level and rally up, but I don't want to risk more. I kind of just got myself out of that trade pretty quick. I'll take that small loss today and be done. Really just overall nothing to do today for myself. We locked ourselves out. We're no longer trading for the day. We are on a little bit longer than normal. We are just here to try and execute something that may have set up, being on the other end of it. This could still go. This still could go through our levels, but we're no longer trading on the day. We're going to go out, enjoy our day. I'll take that small loss any day of the week. I would have taken a flat day, but realistically, I wanted to see that thing pop right off the jump, which it did. But then I noticed this heavy tilt to the long side. I did not want to be involved when all the retail was long. So realistically, once I saw it approaching there, I should have probably pulled the order. Once Astra mentioned, is this an A+ setup? It was all the way up until I saw that heavy tilt, and that really knocks it down a point for me in my setup. So if you have the ability to see this tilt meter here on the bottom, when this gets up into the 80s, it usually means that the retail traders, the combine traders, are all very heavy long, and a lot of times I like to fade them. There is a chance that it still goes through, and yeah, we could be right. Still, even below our 65 level was fine, risking that full risk, but I wanted to be out. It's not going to be an A+ for me anymore because of that. So you could always adjust mid-trade. It's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm going to get off today. I appreciate everybody sticking around. Weren't really able to get anything out of the day, but we're still up pretty nice for the week, up over $1,500 for the week. So overall, just look to execute your just A+ setups. Astra, like Astra said, A+ only. For me, that was up until the very last second, and I should have just hammered it out. But it is what it is. 127 on the day, negative. We're going to come back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Be here, ready to trade. Hopefully have a lot of really good opportunities tomorrow. Until then, I appreciate everybody. Like I said, peace out. See you tomorrow.